Welcome back to the Wargaming Table, operators, and to another episode here on the Sitrep podcast. I am your host this afternoon, Oriskany Jim, and today it is back to some old school wargaming with Avalon Hill's Panzer Leader, albeit with some updates and modifications, because that's pretty much how you have to do Panzer Leader these days. Alright, so the subject for today is the Battle of El Guettar. We looked at this battle earlier in the week when we started to build this scenario. We talked about the background, the forces involved, and so on and so forth. So if you're interested in that kind of historical material, do check out our previous live stream where we went into a pretty serious deep dive. North Africa, 1943. The British have won the Battle of El Alamein, and the Americans and more British have landed behind the Germans back here in French Northwest Africa. Casablanca, Oran, and Algiers. The Germans were able to reinforce Tunisia with another whole army, the 5th Panzer Army, the newly christened 5th Panzer Army. And what we wind up with is a reinforced German position, and now Tunisia is not going to be this super fast, super elegant, quick mop-up operation that closes out the North African theater by the end of 1942. No, now it's going to go halfway through 1943 because Tunisia is going to be a thing now because the Germans have had time to reinforce. Also, it turns out the Americans really don't know what they're doing, at least not yet, because they are the brand new kids on the block, at least as far as ground combat versus Germans here in World War II, because there are 3 very, very sharp defeats for the Americans here at Zablaita, then Sidi Bouzid, and finally the real ass whipping here at Kesselring Pass. These are 3 battles that the American 2nd Corps fought against the Germans, mostly 21st Panzer Division of the German Afrika Corps. Suffice it to say it didn't go well. The commander of American 2nd Corps was kind of unceremoniously sacked, and they brought in a new guy. You may have heard of him. He's a little famous. George S. Patton III. Takes over 2nd Corps. Of course, this is long before he takes over 7th Army, long before he takes over 3rd Army. He took over in mid to late February. It's now late-ish March. And he is sort of whipped 2nd Corps into shape, and he is about to attack, or he has been attacking through these 2 passes, one in the north at Magnasi and one in the south at El Guettar. He's been doing that since about the middle of March. Now it's near the end of March, specifically March 23rd, and the Germans have noticed him. Patton's been doing pretty bad damage against some various Italian flank guard units here in these 2 places. And so the Germans are saying, okay, the Italians need our help again, like they always do. We're going to counterattack the Americans through these passes. And, the 2nd Corps, man, we've already kicked their asses 3 times. Zablaita, Sidi Bouzid, and Kesselring Pass. We're going to make it 4 for 4 now. Here we go. Patton hears that the Germans are coming at him through one of these 2 passes, but he doesn't know which one. So he sets up strong defenses at both, and he stations himself up here in the north. Again, Magnasi Pass, Patton believes is probably the more important one, so he puts his stronger force up there, 1st U.S. Armored Division, and himself. Down here, he has elements of 1st U.S. Infantry Division, the Big Red One. And again, he's prepared for both contingencies, but as we see with the dotted line, he believes that the Germans are going to come through that northern pass, so he's more prepared for that one. Turns out the Germans, perhaps trying to sneak through the side door, they know Magnasi is the more important position, but again, to try and not go straight into the teeth of the enemy's strongest defenses, they're going to try a little bit of a flank action around the American right, and they're going to go through El Guettar. This is 10th Panzer Division under a general named Broich, if I'm pronouncing that right. And technically not part of Deutsches Afrika Korps. Everyone says El Guettar is where Patton defeated Rommel's Afrika Korps. Okay, Patton was not there at the beginning of El Guettar. He was not fighting Rommel. He was not fighting the Afrika Korps. So, there's 3 things wrong in that one sentence. That's the sentence you always hear. But anyway, what we're going to take a look at today is that opening defense of elements of 1st U.S. Infantry Division versus the spearhead of 2 divisions, actually, German 10th Panzer and Italian 131st Armored, the El Centauro, I'm not the El Centauro, yeah, the Centauro Armored Division. So, hello Damon, thanks very much. So again, we went through this on Thursday, we looked at the map. These are actual topographical features that were present there, and we're ready to go. These are 150 meter hexes, although I do admit, like I said on Thursday, this map is a little compressed. At 45 hexes wide and 150 meters per hex, that gives us, let me get a precise number this time, 45 times 150. It's just under 7 kilometers across. This is more like 10 kilometers, so I did squeeze it a little. But even if we use the 6 kilometer, or I should say 6,750 meters, that's a lot. To do this in Flames of War, let's just say each one of these hexes would be 1.5 meters on a Flames of War table, or any 15 millimeter game table. So whether you're playing Battle Group, Flames of War, Tactical Combat, whatever, if it's a 15 millimeter game, an 8-foot table is basically 2 hexes. And we're looking at 45 by, 45 by 25 hexes? So yeah, you would need 45 times 25 divided by 2. Oops, sorry, 45 times 25 divided by 2, not 5. Yeah, you would need almost 600 15 millimeter tables to do today's battle in 15 millimeter. This is a relatively large Panzer Leader game, although not stupidly large. This is really only 3 Panzer Leader maps. Most Panzer Leader games are between 2 and 4 maps. This would be about 3 maps. Maybe, yeah. So a mid-sized Panzer Leader game. We also talked about all the forces. I have since cleaned this up a little bit because, again, we looked at it on Thursday. I've now added the Italians. Again, 131st Centauro Armored Division was there, although in part. And yeah, we're all set. Again, if you're interested in the details on this, check out our previous live stream. We went into this for like an hour. All the platoons, all the companies, the way the companies are set up, the way battalions are set up, and the way regiments are set up, and then into these individual battle groups. So I won't belabor all that stuff again. How about this? Can we just say that we're not fighting Spanish M47s like we see in the movie? So this is the map when it's empty. This is the map with all the units set up. As you can see, it's pretty big. We've got 3rd Battalion, 16th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Battalion, 18th Infantry Regiment. Again, both components of 1st U.S. Infantry. They are holding this main valley. So we have ridges and a desert swamp, Shell El Guettar, here to the southwest, and this much larger Jebel I'm going to try to pronounce that. This large Tunisian ridge with a bunch of smaller kind of razorback ridges stacked on top of it. And this sort of creates a bottleneck that leads toward El Guettar. This is what the Americans have taken away from the Italians in the previous week, and now they've set up some defensive positions. This is also why some of these American units, like 3rd of the 16th and 3rd of the 18th, are under strength, because they have been fighting Italians for about a week. The Italians have now pulled out. The Italians are back with a different division, and they've called in a bunch of their German big brothers, and they're going to hopefully sort out the situation, at least from the Axis perspective. The Americans, of course, their objective is to hold. So again, the 2 big infantry, the bedrock of the American defense is 3rd of the 16th, 3rd of the 18th. 1st Ranger Battalion was also there. They were part of the attack. You don't really use Rangers in defense, so like, why are they here? They were there historically. So again, you see where they're the furthest unit forward. Rangers lead the way, as the slogan goes, or as the motto goes. And they just happened to still be here when the attack came in. So we included them in our game. Although again, they're also a little under strength. And then we've got 601st Tank Destroyer Battalion with the godforsaken M6 Fargo tank destroyer. That's a 37 millimeter anti-tank gun on the back of a pickup truck, basically. It's almost a Libyan technical. If we saw one of those today, we'd swear it was like an insurgent technical. That was an American tank destroyer, because we had given away too many of our M10s to our allies, namely the British. But you will see some M10s on this battlefield. That is the 899th Tank Destroyer Battalion. They pretty much saved the day historically. They're going to arrive on turn 4 or so. We're going to see if they do the same thing today. At the same time, there's almost a second battle going on here to the northeast. Elements of 26th Infantry Regiment. This is the next regiment in 1st U.S. Infantry Division. And they're under attack by elements of 131st Centauro Armored Division. So we'll see how that goes. Turn 1 is complete. So turn 1, I sort of did this one before the I did do this one before the stream started because it would have been kind of boring for everyone to watch. It's just moving forward an assload of units, unloading German trucks, unloading German half-tracks, shuffling stuff around. Probably not the most thrilling content to watch. Nevertheless, I went ahead and did it beforehand. There was some fire, so we do have the Americans saw these Germans coming, and they did drop in some direct fire from 81mm mortar battery attached to 1st U.S. Ranger Battalion, wiped out some German trucks still loaded with grenadiers. Yes, German grenadiers are half in trucks because, let's face it, they're not all in half-tracks. Germans never had enough half-tracks, especially when you get into the back end of the war, when they have all kinds of equipment and manufacturing problems. And then some of the American T-30s. These are, again, these improvised American self-propelled artillery. A T-30 was basically a 75mm pack howitzer bolted kit bash to the back of an M3 half-track. Because, again, we've given away too many of our M7s, our howitzer motor carriages, to the British. So you will see no priests in this game, even though there should be. Because, again, 1st U.S. Infantry just didn't have them. Some elements of these Tunisian forces didn't get M7 priests until December 1944. They're halfway through in Italy at this time, or by this time. Because, again, so much of our self-propelled artillery went to our Lend-Lease allies. I'm not saying that was a bad thing because, better our equipment get destroyed than our people getting killed. At the same time, it means that some of our other divisions are pretty badly under-equipped. Nevertheless, a 75mm pack howitzer will still make a mess of German trucks. And yeah, as we've seen, they're already causing some hits. Meanwhile, up here, Centauro, the Italians are actually doing pretty well. These Italian armor divisions aren't as bad as they they're pretty bad. Their equipment is bad and their officers are bad. The troops, there's nothing really wrong with their troops. At least when their morale is good. Italian morale in World War II was pretty fragile. And that was because they knew they had terrible equipment and terrible officers. When they're fighting alongside the Germans, they're usually under German command. And once they're under German command, they know they have competent leadership, morale slightly improves, and they do okay. Although they are still hampered by some pretty poor equipment. And as they're moving forward, I put the entire infantry battalion on double march. There is an attack for that. Your infantry can get exhausted and disorganized. They're basically dead sprinting to the north. And so a lot of these Italian units are already dispersed. Once they're dispersed, they come under American long-range machine gun fire. There's even, I think that's it. Not as much as I thought because the Italian mortars dropped a smoke screen here and sort of covered the flank as they're trying to push up this toward this northern objective here. So, yeah, turn 1, not the best really for either side, but again, it's more like, extended setup. We are now partway through turn 2. The Germans and Italians are complete for turn 2. And, yeah, it got bloody fast. The two sides have finally kind of come to grips a little bit. We have multiple overruns, including Italians, and it's pretty bad. So mortars, off-board artillery, the Italians do have some 100mm field guns, kind of left over from the 1920s, but they're still good enough to pin down some American infantry, which were then overrun by auto blindas, some semoventes, and even some tanks. Although the American infantry that were in this position did manage to disperse the Italian tanks as they were going in. The Italians are morale C, Germans and Americans are both morale B. Are the morale levels for this scenario, I should say. And, yeah. So the Americans are busted open pretty bad here in the north already. they've sort of had their extreme left wing already clipped off. There's nothing left up here but some trucks. And there's some decent Italian armor. So the Americans might be hard-pressed to hold that objective. And then down here, the Germans are being very aggressive. Maybe a little bit too aggressive because, again, some more of these improvised self-propelled artillery pieces, mortars, and so on are dropping and just blowing up German trucks. And when they're still loaded with grenadiers, the grenadiers are lost along with the trucks. So there's a fair amount of things already destroyed here. However, they did overrun this position. It was hit by German offboard artillery. There's a 15-centimeter battery and a 10.5-centimeter battery. It landed as planned, dispersed those guys, or dispersed some of those guys, and then this IP, that stands for improved position. Sandbags, slit trenches, things like that, did sort of get overrun by pretty much this is the main German punch right here. The forward echelon of 7th Panzer Regiment, 10th Panzer Division, 5th Panzer Army. A reinforced platoon of Rangers was wiped out by German 120 millimeter mortars with a direct fire mission. It is allowed over these trees because the Germans are on elevated terrain back here on Hill 369. And then they got a really good roll. So, yeah, so far the Americans have lost 7 infantry platoons or machine gun sections. Germans have lost 4 infantry platoons and some trucks. The Americans are on the back foot so far, but that's kind of to be expected. Here in the Battle of El Guettar, it was not like we saw in the movie, where Rommel, again, it wasn't Rommel, but Rommel, air quotes, pushed forward with a bunch of M47s. That's okay. Hollywood never has exactly the right tanks. And he just kind of Patton just kind of comfortably sat there in a little foxhole with his pair of binoculars and, made fun of Rommel's book that he misquotes and the movie doesn't get the correct title of. The real Battle of El Guettar got pretty bad. General Allen, General Ward, and General Teddy Roosevelt. Yes, that Teddy Roosevelt. Or I should say the son of that Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt, one of our most beloved presidents earlier in the 20th century. His son is now Brigadier General Teddy Roosevelt Jr. He is the Division XO of 1st U.S. Infantry Division, not mechanized yet, 1st U.S. Infantry. And, he's here as well. They damn near get overrun. In fact, I think the divisional commander was asked by his staff, "Sir, our actual divisional command post is about to get overrun by German tanks. Maybe we should pull out." And his response, rather famously, was, "Hell no, I'm not pulling out, and I'll shoot the first man who does." Now, in the movie's defense and in Patton's defense, I'll just say this super quickly before I get 20,000 comments. And actually, I would love 20,000 comments in our video. But before I start getting some comments in our video, the Germans historically do not break through here at El Guettar. They take pretty bad punishment and they fall back. That's on the morning of 23 March 1943, almost exactly 80 years ago to the day. That's why we're doing El Guettar. When we ran our stream to create this scenario, it was the exact 80th anniversary. March 23rd. Of course, that was back on Thursday. But now the Germans fell back, and later in the afternoon, they made another push to get through this pass. By then, the Americans are reinforced. Conversely, the Germans are heavily damaged from the morning's attack. So that second battle is really kind of a non-issue. But by then, clearly Patton knows that the Germans are coming through the south, so Patton gets in his Jeep and he hauls ass down here to El Guettar. So Patton does show up personally at the Battle of El Guettar, kind of like the movie shows. It's just not that initial attack. And it is later in the day, the battle that didn't make that much of a difference. That first battle, though, was close. And it really could have gone either way, and that's the battle we're doing today. So if you're looking for Patton's counter on this map, you're not going to see it. Alrighty, so catching up on the chat here. Okay, yep, Damon, thanks very much for coming by. Ben is with us. Live on a Sunday, hell yeah. Yeah, we don't normally do live content on Sundays anymore. Our streams are not terribly stable, and we don't get the viewership that we tend to get from our more polished pre-recorded content with nice miniatures and so on. We do have some more of that stuff coming up. It's just two things. Number one, I didn't have time to put together a pre-recorded video for today, and number two, we do want to get back to Panzer Leader. We do want to get back to Valor Victory, and all our other Hex Encounter games, Air War C21, although that's technically a miniatures game, Naval Command, all the other stuff that we want to do. A big part of our audience are Hex Encounter, Command Tactical Wargamers, and we want to make sure that they're not forgotten. Okay, so we've gone over the progress of the battle so far. We've super fast blasted through the history and background. Again, the more detailed version of that is in last week's stream. And now we're going to talk about, we're going to continue the game. It's turn 2. We're now going over to the American side. Okay. So, the American turn. Yeah, the Germans are getting close, and it's going to get ugly here. We've got their previously called in fire missions already marked, but before we resolve those, we have to plot our next fire mission. So, I'll just call them 3, although did I lose them already? No, here we go. This way I don't get mixed up between last turn's artillery mission and this turn's artillery. Alright, so the Americans have to start calling in their off-board artillery. There are, I think, what did I give the Americans for artillery? 3 batteries of 155s. The Americans have a fair amount of artillery. Oh, I already have it kind of called in. But do I want to call it in there? I don't think so. Drop some smoke screen in front of my guys to protect them from German artillery. That was direct fire from before. That was this mortar battery back here. But for now, I got to call in what's basically going to be turn 3's opening artillery strike. Problem is I have to kind of predict where the Germans are going to be. Oh, I did forget to move forward one group of German forces, so hold on. Let me wrap up German turn 2 here. Okay, now where are we going to call in American artillery? Oh man, I honestly don't know. So I'm going to kind of spread out German artillery. Or I'm sorry, American artillery. Here's one target I know is going to be there next turn, so I'll drop some back there. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. What am I talking about? I totally know what I'm going to do with American artillery. This clown, this 5 centimeter, I'm sorry, 120 millimeter mortar barrage that wiped out all my Rangers, or wiped out some of my Rangers. I now have him spotted out of that jungle hex because he fired at me. So now that he's spotted, I'm dropping some artillery on him, and I'm taking out these Italian 88s. Italian 88s? What are you talking about? The Italians didn't have 88s. I beg to differ, sir. They had the Canona, the 90 model 1939. It's a 90 millimeter gun that's basically copied off the Flak 36. So there is such a thing as Italian 88s, sort of. And I don't want you to see how much they're going to do, so I'm going to drop some American artillery on them. All right, so American artillery from our forward next turn is now plotted. 20 versus 2, it's 10 to 1. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I have tons of spotting units. The Americans have the high ground. Spotting units is not an issue. Again, every combat unit in Panzer Leader can spot. A lot of war games say, oh, yeah, only officers can spot. Only officers can spot. Hey, these are platoons. Every single one of these units has at least a second lieutenant in it. So any combat unit can spot. But the only thing that can't spot are like empty trucks. Okay, so my artillery is now plotted. I'm going to resolve last turn's artillery. All right, the first thing I am dropping, I only have 2, right? 1, 2. Oop, I do have 3. Okay, cool. So That 3 is from last turn. All right, cool. So, yeah, all 3. So here we go. That's going to be 20 points. Again, each one of these counters represents one battery of 155 long toms. So, awesome. So, some 155s land on these German. They affect everything in the hex equally. So, first, 20 points versus 8 is 2-to-1 odds. Again, we're using the Tactical Command Middle East, CRT, which is a little bit punchier than you may be used to. Oh, come on and focus, Mr. Camera. It's kind of annoying. All right, here we go. Roll. That's a 1. Sweet. That's the best possible roll. And Panzer Leader, infantry platoon smoked. More grenadiers out of the way. 20 points also land on these half tracks. Because again, wait a minute. They were dismounted, right? Yes. All right, cool. So, quick note to anybody who's watching, or maybe watching later, not familiar with Panzer Leader. If the infantry unit is on top of the transport unit, it's considered unloaded. If it's underneath the transport unit, it's still in the transport unit. That's how you keep track of that in Panzer Leader. Okay, so meanwhile, 20 points of artillery also lands on the half tracks. Problem is that's an armored target, which means my artillery is divided in 2 because it's high explosive ammunition. So it's now 10 versus 4, which is still 2-to-1. So who knows? Maybe I'll take out some half tracks as well. A 3, that does disperse the half tracks. And that is 1 soft kill on the table, so smoke column, because. Alright, cool. That takes care of that artillery barrage. I had 1 back here on these Germans who both failed to rally. This is going to be sweet. First of all, I got 20 points landing on a dispersed truck. It's literally 20-to-1, and I get to add 1 to my die roll. I'm sorry, subtract 1 from my die roll because he's dispersed, and then a double D will kill him. So on a D6, where high rolls are bad, I would have to roll a 23 on a D6 for that truck to survive. Guess what's happening? That truck is toast. All right, and now I'm going to roll on a more serious note. 20 versus 8, that's 2-to-1. However, I get to add 1 to my die roll because he is dispersed. So 2-to-1. Add 1 to the die roll. I'm sorry, subtract 1 from the die roll. And a double D will kill him. He's automatically killed, because even if I roll a 6, I subtract 1 from the die roll. Oh, wait, he can survive on a 6. I take that back. All right, here we go. A 4. A 4 becomes a 3, which is a double D on 2-to-1. What double D means? So D means dispersed, disrupted, disordered, whatever you want to call it. Basically pinned down. If the unit is already pinned down, a double D is read as a kill. So X is a kill, double D is a dispersal, or special dispersal. It will kill a previously dispersed unit, and a D just means a normal dispersal and or pin, depending on your preferred terminology. So he is also smoked. Germans are taking some losses to American artillery now. Awesome. 4 platoons have died in that hex already. All right, so, and then we have 1 more back here on some Italians. These Italians had ran themselves ragged on the quick march rule, as described in Panzer Leader and Arab-Israeli Wars. And they were pinned down. Once the unit gets pinned down, you can pretty much call an artillery on him, because even if he rallies, he can't move because he spent his turn rallying, i.e. you know where he's going to be next turn. And again, in Panzer Leader, you normally have to make your artillery rolls, or your artillery plots 1 turn in advance. So 20 more points on 5, which is 4-to-1 odds. However, he did rally, so he's no longer dispersed. It's just a normal 4-to-1. He's probably killed, but maybe not. With a set of 6 or a 1? That's a 6. Oh no, the Italians survived. Although he's been redispersed. Alright. That's it for the American artillery phase. Stack up the corpses here. The Americans are steadily closing the gap on units destroyed. It's now 7-6. Alright, cool. So, save the file. Now, it does mean that this is why you have to... Oh, wait, never mind. So I should have 3 threes on the table still. 1, 2. Oh, yeah, the 3 was there. Alright, it will mean that a little bit of my artillery is wasted next turn, because I called in artillery on a unit that is now destroyed. Unless something else happens to move in there, which, I mean, it won't. But that's okay. The Americans make plenty of artillery ammunition. We'll be fine. Dennis Cross has now joined us. Spanish M47s, you mean Hollywood Panzers? Yes, David. One of my favorite things about that scene is, of course, it's about Patton. George C. Scott is playing Patton, and he's sitting there blowing up, Spanish M47s, i.e. tanks named after Patton. So Patton is literally blowing up his own tanks in that scene. And they thought no one would notice. I love it. Yes, Spanish M47s with their turrets reversed so they look like Panzers. At least that's what they were hoping. It didn't really work. Jen says the map looks great. A huge area, though. Yeah, it's pretty decent. So, oh my god, that's not what I meant. So like I said, 45 hexes by 150. Again, even using my smaller hex rules, it's 6750, and then 25 times 150, 3750. So 3.75 times 6.75, 25 and change square kilometers. It's a decent sized chunk of real estate. And this isn't even this is like a slightly larger than medium. On a scale of Panzer Leader games from 1 to 10, this is about a 6. A strong 6, maybe a 7. It's not even like the biggest one. Damon has played bigger games than this. So has Piotr with me online. It's, it takes 8 hours. But yeah, we play bigger games than this previously. All right, so continuing American phase, we now go into technically air phase. Both sides, this is an exception to the rule, both sides do have air power. You almost never do this. In fact, I get a little irate when I see people constantly putting, both sides have aircraft, or both sides have helicopters, or both sides have, whatever, airstrikes available or air assets available on a tactical battlefield. Have you never heard of air superiority? If you don't own the skies, you don't send in your planes like that. It just doesn't work. That said, there are historical records of both sides with aircraft. So this is kind of, there wasn't really air supremacy. I think the Americans were starting to close in on air superiority, but they didn't quite have it locked down yet, or were HE-111s bombing the Americans here. Now, the Americans do have P-47s, fighters. What the Americans can do is if the Germans bring in aircraft, they can counter that with a P-47 mission. They can use up one of their P-47 missions to just cancel out a German HE-111 strike. But then they don't get to use it themselves. So the American basically has the option of using his air power defensively or offensively. But for now, the Americans are not committing their air power. So then we go straight to American direct fire phase. All right, there's not a lot in range yet. He took opportunity fire. This gun motor carriage already took opportunity fire. Let me zoom in a little bit here. I don't think there's much else. Oh, wait a minute. What can this guy see? I gotta shoot past this berm here, or this little sand dune here. Oh, hell yeah. That is line of sight there. Hey, guy. How you doing? 5 points of HE fire on an empty German truck. Germans are being a little sloppy in their advance. They're just trying to cover that open desert. So it does not double because I'm at past half range. So it stays at 5, but it's still 5 to 1. That's not good odds for the German player. A 5, that's just barely enough to kill him. And because the truck is exploded and they are carrying German infantry, the German infantry are also lost. So the Germans have lost a lot of infantry so far. Like Patton says in the movie, that's a hell of a waste of some fine infantry. Yeah, it's kind of turning out that part they got right. And it's kind of turning out the same way here in our game. All right, so now he's fired. I don't think too many other American units can fire. The Americans are tremendously undergunned. They have some 50 cals I can't quite reach yet. That mortar again is already fired. This mortar can't really see anything yet. This mortar battery, I should say. Because he's got to... Alright, you know what? He's going to drop a mortar barrage on this position right here. Now, do notice that he's out of his vehicle. So when you use mortars on direct mission, as opposed to indirect fire mission, they do double. So that is going to be 6 versus 8. That's a 1 to 2. 4, no effect. And then 3 versus 4. That's also a 1 to 2. He did disperse the half tracks though. And honestly, nothing else has range. This guy's dropping indirect fire. Yeah. Americans have a lot of infantry and light weapons and these god-awful Fargos, which only have a range of 4. That's an American tank destroyer. Thank you, Lend-Lease. Yeah. This guy doesn't have too much in the way of line of sight yet. He's waiting for when the Germans make this crest. So there is an objective hex up here, marked by that little target icon. So far the Germans have, perhaps a little overconfidently, detached this little battle group. I may change my mind on that, and to snatch that objective hex, because the Germans are taking some pretty bad losses here in this valley, even though they haven't really contacted the American line yet. German artillery, though, is doing pretty well. Alright, so wrapping up this other side of the battle against the Italians. Any direct fire. Oh god, the Americans might need some help up here. Holy crap. Holy crap. Alright, you know what else I'm going to do? I forgot to call in shit for this artillery mission, or for this, my 2 artillery, my 2 mortar batteries back here. Those tanks are not going to move because Italians don't get split moving fire rule. How much damage can I do? It's going to be 13, 7, 7. It's going to be 2 1-to-1s. All right. Wow, man, the Americans already got the shit kicked out of them up here. All right, that's it for American direct fire. Let's go straight to American movement. Pull back these trucks because they're about to get overrun. Park 1 on the objective hex just to be a dick. Yeah, the Americans are on defense back here. Holy crap. They might need some help from artillery next turn. All right, cool. So now we go, now we're into American movement. Everything's fine here. The Americans are on defense, so there won't be too much movement. Retake that position. Move up some half tracks just to help shoot up German trucks. Yeah, not a heck of a lot so far. Okay, cool. We're done with American movement. There's no overruns. There's no nothing. That completes German turn 2. Or that completes turn 2. The American turns are going to be kind of short because they're on such a strong defensive position. Most of their fire is actually going to take place during the German movement phase. So the German and Italian movement phases, or the German and Italian turns, are going to take a lot longer. The American turns, however, are going to be pretty much at least until 899th shows up. When 899th show up, that's the one big American offensive option they have there. Okay. German turn 3. The first thing they have to do is plot their artillery. Well, actually, the first thing I'm going to do is catch up on Mr. Chat. Sitrep is live, says Dennis Cross. Hello from Kansas. How you doing, sir? Jen says, oh no, not the high ground. At least this is actual high ground and not a slightly higher spot on a low hill. Yeah, I'm not going to go into the tactics of Star Wars. That would make for an interesting stream one of these days. Pretty much tearing apart Star Wars and how it makes like zero military sense. But of course, that's almost an unfair discussion. It's not meant to make military sense. That's not its objective. But nothing you see in Star Wars would make sense. It only becomes a problem when people start making games about Star Wars, outside of like skirmish games or adventure games. If you try to make an actual ground tactical combat game based on the ground battles of Star Wars, those flaws really come into play. They really come to the fore. I did publish something on that. It was on tabletop way back in the day, like 2014. Or Star Wars Tactical Command, I think I called it. There's not a whole lot you can do with it because, again, the overall idea of ground combat in Star Wars, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Germans are seriously in trouble when those M10s arrive. Absolutely. URS? URS. I'm not sure what URS is. Are seriously in trouble when those M10s arrive. Yeah, I get that part. Oh, URS. I don't understand that comment. I apologize. Ben says much bigger games than this. Oh, yes. I see what you're saying. Yeah. There are, we've done some big ones. That's for sure. Charles Sutherland has joined us. What gaming tool is being used? Greetings from Southern Virginia. This is an Excel spreadsheet. So hopefully at the bottom of the, oh no, you don't see it. At the very bottom of the screen, just out of your view, is the tabs of an Excel spreadsheet. So if I pull down my little menu here, it's just Microsoft Excel. Now I do have to put all these counters and maps into the Excel spreadsheet, and I have to build them first in Photoshop. But that's pretty much it. And then what we do is I'm just streaming my desktop through OBS, and then when we're playing actually against our live opponent, which we didn't really have time to schedule this week, I would have made the game much smaller if we were doing against a live opponent, we just get on a Skype call. And that way we're both looking at the same screen, and that screen is then being piped through OBS out to a live stream for you guys. That's pretty much how we do it. We keep it simple. We've got too much to worry about. German anti-tank guns, American fighter bombers. We don't need to worry about OBS and crazy virtual tools that don't work half the time. Also, we do not play Panzer Leader out of the book. This is a blend of Panzer Leader, Arab-Israeli Wars, Brian Train's Desert Leader, and Tactical Command Middle East by Toshash Miniatures. So basically, versions 2, 3, a side version of 3, and version 4 of the Panzer Blitz game engine. So, yeah. Alright, so we're now in German turn 3. We're going to plot German artillery. What German artillery do I already have? German artillery, okay, there they are. Why did I split it up like that? That wasn't terribly smart. Okay, no worries. I'm going to focus German artillery this time, because that wasn't too smart. What do I need to kill? I'm almost positive this force is still going to be there, because the way I have my German artillery improperly diluted, this turn, way too much of that crap is going to survive. So I'm going to hit that again next turn with a new fire mission. So 3 and 3 is turn 3's artillery. It's coming in now. Turn 4 artillery is going to hit that same target again, but with more focused fire. Meanwhile, I am going to do some Italian artillery. My Italian artillery is landing here this turn. I'm going to drop it. That's an awful waste of artillery. I can't see any. Also, I can't see that hex yet. So that would be an illegal artillery mission anyway. Damn it. The Italians are like at the base of a ridge, climbing the ridge, clearly. They can see surprisingly little. Oh, yes, they can. This Semovente can see them. All right, so I will put it here. Because, I mean, that's the objective hex, but I'm not dropping 2 batteries of 100mm field guns on a collection of empty trucks. That's just dumb. All right, so that is Italian artillery plotted. We now go to artillery resolution. Okay, so the first thing, I have a German 10.5 and 10.5 and 15 centimeter battery, total of 24 points, landing on this hex. So that's going to be a 4-1, 4-1, and 8-1. However, they're in an improved position, so I have to add 2 to all these rolls. So pull up Mr. Camera. First, platoon of Rangers, add 2 to this roll. Oh my God, a 3 on 4. The Rangers are getting friggin' crushed. Boom. Next battery. 3 plus 2 is 5 on 4-1. Those Rangers survived, although they are dispersed. Oh, those aren't Rangers, those are Engineers. But they have the same defense factor. And then again, 24 divided by 2, because this is technically a armored target. So now it's 12 versus 3, it's 4-1. That's a 6. Plus 2 becomes 8. Hell no. Those gun motor characters are like, bitch, what artillery? Shut up with the noise. Enough of the noise. We're trying to drink beer up here. So yeah, like I kind of predicted, a fair amount of that stuff survived. So we'll have to, the Germans will hopefully wrap that up with turn 4's artillery mission follow-up strike. But they did take out 1 platoon of Rangers and pin down some Engineers. Meanwhile, these 15 centimeter mortars, using direct fire, are going to land on this new hex that I just repopulated. Okay, so now when you're using artillery in direct fire phase, in other words, the battery can spot its own target. They do double. That's an Arab-Israeli war rule. It's on the Arab-Israeli War's weapons effectiveness chart. So now we're looking at 30 versus 6, basically 2 5-to-1s. The good news for the Americans is that they get to add 2 to their roll, 2 to the German roll, because they are in these improved positions. So come on, Rangers, survive this time. 2 4s on 5-to-1. That's 2 more wiped out Rangers, man. Good grief! Half of 1st Ranger Battalion has already been wiped out. I've now lost like 3 platoons of Rangers, so that's almost 2 companies of Rangers. Good God Almighty. Good news, they don't really know it yet, but those 120mm mortars are marked for death. The American 155s are going to land on them at the back end of turn 3, and that's going to be that. So the Germans are getting weaker. We see all these smoke columns marking destroyed German units. They're doing a lot of damage. It's just whether or not they're going to get through this big green mass. Now, this big green mass, if you've taken a closer look at it, is a hell of a lot weaker than it looks, because probably 50% of it is empty truck, empty truck, empty truck, empty truck. It's just a lot of trucks. It's, every American army was almost completely mechanized, even in early 1943. And so everything was just getting shoveled up here in trucks. Now those trucks, the Americans through the night have clearly gotten out of the trucks and taken up their defensive positions, and the trucks are still back here. So, and even the combat units are pretty weak. The American advantage, again, is terrain. I do have the U.S. Army records to prove it. There was a minefield here through Wadi El Kadab. And, yeah, there are some reinforcements coming. So, we'll see what happens. Alrighty. We'll go ahead and clear that because that's been resolved. This has been resolved. This has been resolved. That has been resolved. I was trying to clean up the map a little bit. Save one arrow for when we get into the German fire phase. All right, let's go ahead. We've now wrapped up Italian artillery. Italians do have 2 batteries of 100 millimeter field guns. What did I do with them? Back here. They have a total of 24 points. So a 4-1. Maybe I put too much artillery in this game. Holy crap. He survived. Now the machine gun section. Machine gun section is smoked. So we're shoveling units off the table quick. I wanted to make today's stream kind of engaging. So both sides have lots of artillery. And American losses are getting absurd. We're past 10. We're now at 13 platoons destroyed. Platoons and various lighter, like machine gun weapon sections. Ooh. Kill ratio is basically 2-1, although the Americans haven't taken their turn 3 yet, so it's not really fair. All right, let's start with German direct fire. The Germans are more about moving, which means not stopping to fire. So I've got 2 German flak guns here. Flak tracks, I call them. Half tracks with 37 millimeter and 20 millimeter guns on them. Trouble is they don't really have any targets. Blocked, blocked, blocked. I can see that one. And I can see that one. So what the Americans were doing with some of their empty trucks was just kind of being an ass. A little bit of metagaming perhaps. They're basically just, or cheese gaming. They just put some empty trucks here to prevent German overruns. That's okay, these Germans are going to clean them out. 6-1 automatic kill. And 4-1 probable kill. Oh, wrong button, sorry. A 4, that's another kill. These are just trucks, they don't even count as combat units. Nevertheless, we do track them because they can slow down German movement. Basically, they're like temporary roadblocks. All right, so other German movement. I'm sorry, fire. Honestly, not much. There's no real line of sight yet. Okay, they can see this unit. We're going to go ahead and start that offensive against this objective hex I was talking about. So I've got 2 of these, or I should say 2 platoons of these 233 armored cars. They mount the short-barreled 75 millimeter assault howitzer. They're going to shoot uphill at Americans within half range, so they both double. 10 plus 10 equals 20. Everything else is going to not do that. Okay. Now the problem is the Americans are on high ground and they're hull down. They're right behind that ridge line. So the Americans are going to get to add 2 to their roll. Oh, that's not so hot. Okay, so it's going to be, what did I say? 20 versus 6. That's only 3-1. I have to add 2 to the results. Or I can do 20 versus 12, 1-1. Let me zoom in a little bit. And I still have to add 2 to the results. It'd be great if I could pin them both down and then assault. So here's the thing about Panzer Leader. A lot of people like to just say, oh, I'm going to add up some points, divide, get my outcome, and I just want to kill shit. Man, you can do Panzer Leader that way if you want. You'll lose most of your games, I promise you. What you really want to do is you want to do combined arms tactics. So what the Germans are going to do here is they're going to go ahead and fire both of these armored cars, their howitzers, up the hill And they're not going for kills. I'm going to go for pins. And if I succeed on the pins, then overrun, 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 overrun. And these overruns are going to be with infantry and pioneers. It's going to be a close assault. So it's going to be a Panzer Blitz assault. This is when half-tracks can overrun while the infantry in the half-track bails out and conducts an immediate close assault. So I'm going to attack this unit 3 times if I get away with it. Germans are going to have to get a little lucky here. Do I have any mortars that haven't already fired? Where's that 3-centimeter mortar? I haven't unloaded them yet. Damn it. Okay, I'm going to have to put some more fire in there because that's not even nearly close enough. I have to get 24 points to get to 2-1. I want to at least be on 2-1. All right, 2 platoons of Panzer II Mark Fs are also going to fire their 20mm autocannon up there. I know they're A-class weapons. Notice it says A star. It's an autocannon. So what an A star means, or an A asterisk, it doesn't have to divide its firepower when shooting at soft targets. Normally an A-class weapon, you don't fire armor-piercing ammunition in infantry. It's just inefficient. These are autocannons. You can chop up infantry pretty efficiently with autocannons. Oh, I didn't mean to delete it. There we go. All right, so 2 of them are going to fire. 1 of them is going to stand by for the overrun, hopefully. So now I've got a total of 24 versus 12. Great. Let's do it. That's 2-1. I have to add 2 to the die roll, however. Time for the Germans to get lucky. A 4 becomes a 6 on 2-1. They missed. Albeit barely. I rolled a natural 4. I have to add 2 to the result. That's a null effect. So the fire went in. A bunch of explosions happened. The close assault. You know what? I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to say the orders already went out, and now we're doing an uphill overrun just for the drama. Just because it's fun. Also, you practically never get to do Panzer Blitz assaults. That's going to cost me a half-track if I do that. Fuck it. As I unload, 1 half-track blows up because now I'm overstacked. But in order to get the engineer bonus, the engineers and the rifles have to be stacked in the same max for the upcoming close assault. All right, so there's a German wreck counter on the map, finally. There's 1 armored vehicle finally burning, or platoon of armored vehicles. Germans are going all in up here. Probably not so smart, but it's going to be fun. Makes for a fun, interesting stream. Actually, we're not going to do that yet. We're not going to kill that German half-track yet, because the Germans are about to lose a half-track anyway. So rather than blow themselves up, we're going to at least make the Americans blow us up. So what the Americans get is what's basically an opportunity cat attack. We sometimes call it the sticky bomb phase. So if you've seen Saving Private Ryan, you wait till the German armor is overrunning you, and you start throwing grenades into vision ports, anti-tank mines into tracks, throwing mortar shells at people. You start doing all the crazy shit, jumping up on top of the tank, shooting through vision ports, doing all the stuff that you see in all the fun war movies. So there's a nasty little, what I'm basically trying to say is, there is a hell of a bolt action game going on right here. So if you take an imaginary rectangle and you draw basically this shape that I'm describing with my cursor here, this is about what a bolt action table looks like. A big bolt action game. There are 15 tanks. Sorry, 10 tanks, 10 tanks, 10 half tracks, 80 Germans, 80 Americans. There's a big bolt action game. Actually, that's more of a Flames of War game. There's a Flames of War game happening right here. Yeah, like I said, 2, maybe 3 hexes. Again, depends on how you draw your exact rectangle. for your typical 8x4 table. This is a 15mm war game happening right now. This is what combat really looks like in Command Scout. And this is not operational gaming, before anybody says that. This is actual tactical combat. All that 15mm stuff, that's all skirmish, if you really look at it objectively. All right, so let's see what happens. This is going to get bloody, because the Germans are taking a hell of a risk here. Cannot participate in the assault, because they fired. Up here, there's now going to be an opportunity cat attack. Let me not get suicidal with the Germans. Okay, otherwise this guy will cat attack. All right, so as you can see, there's American infantry here, American infantry here. So the Germans are sort of hedging their attack a little bit over here to their right to make sure they don't engage this guy and just have to fight that many more forces at once. When you're attacking in Panzer Blitz, what you want to do is divide the enemy up and take them in little manageable bite-sized chunks. You want to focus your firepower and focus your assaults. So we tried to use fire and maneuver, it just didn't work. Ideally, all this gunfire would have pinned these two down, and then the close assault goes in. Now there's no opportunity to counterattack, and this overrun happens almost automatically. It didn't work though. So we'll see if there's any Audie Murphys up here in Hex 2612. Here we go. I have a total of 4 points in there. Those 4 points are going to select their target. They're going to select the easy target. Again, we're going to say that we haven't blown up that half track yet. So it's going to be 4 points versus 8 points. 1 to 2 odds, add 2 to the die. Subtract 2 for the die roll for a close assault. Remember, subtractions in this game are always a bonus, additions are always a penalty. So it's 1 to 2. However, we get to subtract 2 from the die roll. A 2 becomes a 0. Oh no! I think that's a kill. 4 German platoons just died. A 0, a modified 0 on 1 to 2 is an X. There are some Audie Murphys in there. Someone just won the Silver Star. They're probably still dead because they're about to get overrun by German tanks, but destroyed. Oh, that was a copied unit. Right? Let me not lose track of this. All right, so destroyed, because now that other half track is also wrecked, and these guys were still in the half track. There goes 100 German troops, 50 grenadiers and 50 engineers. That was messy. But it is an objective hex, so it might have been worth it. Man, all right, I'll catch up on the chat, guys, in just a second. It got kind of intense here for a minute. Okay, now the rest of the attack goes in. The rest of the movement takes place. I would still have to lose another half track if I wanted to do that. I'm going to go ahead and do it, though. All right, so now I have 6 total points. I'm not going to dismount him because that would cost me another... Oh, the hell with it. Yes, I am. All right, so we're going to do a Panzer Blitz assault. All right, so a Panzer Blitz assault happens only because we almost never get to do these. There's going to be an overrun followed by a close assault. So sending 3 points against 12 is pretty terrible. However, we're assuming that at least 1 or 2 of these guys are going to be dispersed, maybe even killed by the overrun. So there's 12 American defense points in there, 6 German attack points. So it's 1 to 2. For an overrun, you then bump that up to 1 to 1 and subtract 2 from the die roll. So yeah, automatically, because I know how the chart goes, automatically those guys are at least dispersed. It would be nice if they were killed though, because then I never have to do this close assault, which means I don't have to lose another half track due to overstacking. That's a 6. These Americans are fighting like big dogs. However, they are dispersed. And now the close assault goes in, which means I've lost another half track. All right, but now 3 versus 12 is 1 to 4. Oh God, subtract 2 from the result. subtract 3 from the result because now they're dispersed. And a double D does kill them. A 6 again! It is a 6, right? Yeah. Actually, he has to be in, put him in this hex. Oh my god, they're still there. Okay, yeah, that big German attack up against that objective hex, that was definitely a mistake. It was fun, so I'm still glad I did it for a stream purpose. But yeah, that German captain just got relieved, if he's still alive, which is not altogether certain. Look at the bright side. The Germans might be. The Germans are now at 12 losses, because I'm not counting empty trucks. In Panzer Leader, you don't count empty trucks for victory conditions. So now it's 12-13. Holy crap, that just happened. All right, let's finish up some German movement phase down here. Ben, you should do a stream with Mr. Plinkett. I would love to get a shout out by a channel that big, by Red Letter Media. That would really help us out. Bonafide Panzerblitz assault. Stand the F by. Yeah, except it didn't work. All because that initial fire phase whiffed. Which, if this was an actual competitive game, if I was actually playing against a live opponent, and not just trying to put on a good stream for the viewers, I would have immediately called off that close assault and overrun. Because once these guys fail to be pinned down, once the commanding captain or major down here looks up that slope with his binoculars, the smoke clears, and he sees the Americans are still there after the German suppressive fire, and they're still in good order, cancel the charge. Because this is what happens. But it was fun. Alright, meanwhile down here, maybe the Germans will have some better luck. We already blew up some trucks, now we're going to do to the German movement phase. Problem is I over-invested down here with my German artillery. Okay, let's just go ahead and get started. Actually, what the hell am I doing? I'm using split move and fire. 14, 14, 10, 10. That's another 14. Oh god, I need a calculator for this. There's going to be a big number here. All these German tanks are going to open fire against some of these American positions here. And probably not do very much, but maybe knock somebody out. And then they're going to use what's called the turreted AFE mobility rule, otherwise known as split move and fire. They're basically going to advance by fires. They're no longer charging recklessly because they're now going to be within range of some American attacks. Also, if they get too close, the Americans may abandon their little sand dunes there and cat attack them. In infantry versus tanks and close assault, you just saw what happens. It can get very dangerous. At a distance, tanks rule. Once you get within 2 hexes, infantry starts to get a lot better because, close assault rules. So, real fast, let's add it up. 14, 14, 14, 10, 10, 10, another 10. Okay, that is all going in 82. However, it is all regular A's, no A stars. It's all regular A's against soft targets, so I have to divide all that mess by 2. Knocks down to 41. I have to add 2 to the die roll because they are in hold down position behind that ridge. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in this half track just for fun to give myself 43 points so I can get to 7-1 on the infantry, on the rifle platoon. 7-1, add 2 to the result. 4, that's just enough. He's dead. Dude, come on. All right, cool. Now the tanks slightly advance because they're not really afraid of that machine. I mean, in fact, that actually helps a lot because the machine gun section, it is illegal for them to attack, to counterattack without being stacked with infantry. So now the Germans are going to advance rather boldly because I ain't afraid of this guy no more. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm still out of range of all these Fargos. I do have to worry about this T-30 battery, but he's only 5 points and he halves versus armor targets. So the hell with that guy. All right, the Germans suddenly feel strong again. In fact, the hell with you guys. I'm coming in, man. 16th Infantry Regiment, you're about to get flanked. Set phasers to flank. Ooh, watch out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I am in range of some of these guys. But they're so sad. The hell with it. All right, so as they move forward, Americans are taking opportunity fire. Some of the Fargos are going to shoot. Again, this is your daddy's pickup truck with a 37 millimeter gun on the back. In today's terms, we would literally call that like a Syrian technical. Unfortunately, that was the basis of many of our actual real U.S. Army tank destroyer battalions in those days. Because reasons. All right, you guys know what I'm doing, so I guess I really have to plot all these arrows. But who knows? Maybe we'll, 1, 2, 3. No, he is out of range. All right, so it's going to be these 4. They're at greater than half range, so they divide. So those 2 4s become just 1 4 versus a 7. That's 1 to 2. Hey, they dispersed one. Unload. Ooh, no. That half-track fired. Well, he also has turret limited mobility roll. He's going to move. He just unloaded. That truck is going to move up here and then unload. I want that infantry gun to have at least some protection. Now, I'm only moving 1 hex with these trucks because you don't trigger opportunity fire until you use at least a quarter of your movement. Trucks moving off-road spend double movement points. So when I move 1 hex, I basically spend 2 movement points. 2 is less than a quarter of 12, so I'm fine. Now, you can blow up the truck if you want. Have at it. I don't really care. The problem is the vehicle is already unloaded. If I move a 2nd hex, however, under American guns, I have now spent 4 movement points. Again, for trucks, it's 2 for 1 when off-road, because they're not really off-road vehicles. And of course, 4 is more than a quarter of 12. I trigger opportunity fire, and I die, because I have a 1 defense factor. German Opel Blitz trucks are not the sturdiest of vehicles, clearly. Here is my other mortar that I was bitching about. I did not have unloaded. 1, 2, can anybody see me when I do that? It has range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nope. Couldn't see it. Out of range, out of range. Unload. All right, cool. Now I got my mortars set up. These guys are in half tracks. They're a little sturdier. Where are they? Also, they're half tracks, so they don't have to spend 2 for 1 on movement points. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's less than half, which means I can still unload in the same turn. German assault engineers. Some of the best artillery, some of the best infantry you'll see in Panzer Blitz. Set up these machine guns here because they're just going to start chewing up these trucks unless the Americans kill them. I almost welcome it. Another machine gun section. Fine. you can do the same thing. Damn it, get these bombs in the back. I'm just going to go into the rules enough to kind of explain what I'm doing, or like any tactics. If you guys are interested in a deep dive of the rules, we've got other videos that handle that kind of thing. Otherwise, the stream will go way too long. That German half-track is going to try to rally. He needs a 1 through 4. He succeeds. And then gets split move and fire. Half-tracks don't really have turrets. However, they do have pintle mounts for their machine guns. So Panzer Leader unit function table does give them access to the split move and fire rule. I've got another half-track section, same thing. Come on, camera, focus. He fails. He remains dispersed. 10th Panzer was not, like, I mean, it was a solid Panzer division, so I give it a B, but for morale, but it's not like the best. Wow, that German spearhead is really starting to thin out, isn't it? It was like double that size a little while ago. Crap. And they're no longer going right down the throat. They kind of sidestep. They're going to... Because, holy crap, man. We were taking some losses there. Alrighty. That will wrap things up for German movement over here. Let me wrap it. Again, the German movement is going to be where a lot of the time is. German and Italian movement. Dude, if the Germans get beat and the Italians win, the Germans are never going to live it down. But it might happen. 1, 2, 3. Technically, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They cannot take opportunity fire because they already have orders on an artillery mission. Simovente, I'll be overrun. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He will not be overrunning. He's too far away, but these guys won't need help to overrun some trucks. It'll be fine. Problem is the infantry is getting left behind. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Infantry always moves at 2 hexes. In this version of Panzer Leader. Again, the reason I gave them all a movement rate of 2 is because, again, the hexes are compressed to 150 meter hexes. Normally, Panzer Leader is played at 250 meter hexes. So that's why the hexes are half as big. So to reflect that, the movement rate for infantry is doubled. I did not double the movement rate on all of the vehicles because the reason I made the hexes smaller scale was to fix the grossly overinflated movement rates for the vehicles. Vehicles in this game were way too fast. And I went over the details on that on our Thursday stream. All right, so I'm going to try to rally rifle platoon. No. Yes. Because these are morale C, they only rally on a 1 through a 3. Now those tanks. Dropping dice on the floor. Turn on Mr. Camera. They both rallied. No, one rallied, one did not. I'm sorry. That's going to be important when that artillery comes in. Also, this Italian smoke screen now dissipates. I don't know why this truck's getting up there, but whatever. This guy is... Ooh, he's going to unload. Which means I probably fired him illegally before. Notice that arrow shows that he fired. He was still loaded. Okay, I'm going to give the Americans back one rifle platoon, because I think I screwed them over on a rules mistake. Notice that arrow is leading from that anti-aircraft platoon. He did fire, I believe, illegally. Okay, so since he did not fire, it would have been illegal for him to do so. And they're now too far away to hit anything. They're going to reload and now move half their movement, which again is going to be halved because they're in trucks. 1, 2, 3. So their movement rate is 12. They spent half of that to load. They have 6 movement points left. 1, 2, 3 to cross a ridge. 4 or 5. Yes, these trucks are struggling over this desert terrain. He just rallied. That was his turn. He did fire and it was legal, so he's done moving. Okay, that's it for the Axis turn. Finally, they've done enough damage. They inflicted a little bit of damage on themselves up here. Holy crap. Alright, we'll now start the American turn 3 as soon as I catch a bunch at. The U.S. use of tank destroyers as independent regiments is interesting. Yeah, we had them as... did we have them as regiments or we have them as battalions? So there are... Yeah, how you can tell is... Oh, I may get this wrong here. Okay, if a tank battalion, if the number begins with a 3, like the 365th or the 321st, or I'm just grabbing random numbers, then it is integrally attached to a U.S. infantry or armored division. In fact, let me take that back. It's integrally attached to a U.S. armored division. It's bolted into a tank battalion, into a tank regiment. And then that tank regiment is part of a division, and that division is broken up into 3 combat commands. Combat Command A, B, and Reserve. Later they just made it A, B, and C, but I don't think that's until like the early 1950s. If it begins with a 7, then it is an independent tank battalion that gets bolted onto an infantry division in support, like the 769th or something like that. So in Kelly's Heroes, they mention the communications officer comes out to Booker, and he comes out to the balcony. When he calls to the general, and Carol O'Connor comes out to the balcony, he says, "Who's broken through and how far have they gone?" And he says, "No one has, sir. No one's broken through. It seems as if someone's found a hole in the right flank. They're trying to push elements of the 35th and the 321st into it." That's 35th Infantry Division and 321st Tank Battalion. That's sort of what Oddball is at least supposed to be attached to. Although, of course, we all know that Oddball doesn't really belong to anybody. Also, to my knowledge, there's no such tank battalion as the 321st. The closest thing I could find to the 321st was an armored engineer section, which is not what they're doing. But anyway, maybe that was the bridging guys. In fact, that actually makes more sense. 321st would be the bridging guys. What's his name? Bellamy from Jersey City. Anyway, well, off topic. When it begins with an 8, or I should say when it begins with a 6, it is an attached tank destroyer battalion. It is, or I should say an integral tank destroyer battalion. It's attached to, permanently, an infantry division to help them support. When it begins with an 8, or I believe some also began with a 9, that is when it is an independent tank destroyer battalion, usually owned by Corps, and Corps, then, in this case, General Patton, commanding U.S. 2nd Corps, is going to send that tank destroyer battalion wherever it's needed and temporarily attach it to a division or just use it as an independent unit. The Soviets also had separate Guards tank destroyer battalions. They called them self-propelled anti-tank battalions. Su-76s, 85s. By the time we get to beginning of 45, they have Su-100s. Or even ISU-122s. Those are either separate separate anti-tank regiments, no independent battalions, but separate self-propelled tank destroyer regiments and also brigades. Because Russians do everything in bigger units. Anyway, it's not exactly true, but that's a discussion for a different stream. I would not look for that movie for real history, no matter how much I enjoyed it. Rasmus, there's a surprising amount of actual history in there. There's a surprising amount. Who's bothering me on Discord? Oh, stupid bot is. Oh no, we've got a new person joining. Thank you, Stormcaller, for joining our Discord. All right, anyway, let me look up something up super fast. U.S. 35th Infantry. Please let me be right on this. Boom. All right, so when he says elements of the 35th and the 321st, next time you watch that movie, look at everyone's shoulder patch. You're going to find that icon on there. The battle in September near Nancy in September 1944 is almost just like this. In fact, I can almost give you the exact day that most of Kelly's Heroes takes part. There's a surprising amount of history in that, at least in the background. And then, let me see, U.S. 321st Engineers. Yeah, 321st Engineer Battalion is a U.S. Army Reserve Battalion active in World War II. Those guys, that's Bellamy's bridging engineers. The guys who are trying to build the trying to build the bridge for him, the Bailey guys, that's them. So, you'd be surprised. I mean, of course, it's a funny movie. It's not really an actual thing. But at the same time, there's a little bit of history to it. You know, some people get surprised. Anyway, way off topic. But we got into a discussion about how the U.S. Sets up its tank destroyer and tank battalions either attached or integral. Is how we got on that little tangent. Okay, speaking of American artillery, let's go to the beginning of American Turn 3. Dun, 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 dun. American Turn 3. Our artillery is plotted, but before we do that, I want to set up, I have to, the turn sequence is very explicit about that. All right, you know what? We talked about it before. The Americans are committing total artillery support to the north because the Italians are about to run away with this game. The Americans have been paying way too much attention to the Germans. The Germans also got a little frisky here in the center, and they got curb stomped. So now it's time to... meanwhile, the Italians have smashed this battalion of 26th Infantry, and they're about ready to turn the American wing. Look at this. It's looking like Fredericksburg up here. It's I got to do something. All right, so I have 3 missions I can drop here on turn 4. I got to start killing some of these guys. I got to, mister. American artillery is plotted. Hello, John Smith. Is that aid to Camp 2? Dun, 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 dun. No, this is technically Panzer Leader, although it does have some rules imported from successive editions of the Panzer Leader family, namely Arab-Israeli Wars by Avalon Hill, Desert Leader, pretty much Panzer Leader for the Desert, published by Brian Train in 2000, and Tactical Combat Middle East, basically Panzer Leader / Panzer Blitz for 1991 Gulf War, published by Toshash Miniatures. So it's a blend of what we could call 2nd, 3rd, and 4th edition Panzer Blitz. Basically, it's how I play Panzer Leader. I took the best out of all the editions and I kind of kit bashed it together into sort of a master game of Panzer Leader. All right, so American artillery is plotted. We are now going to, for the bottom of the 3rd, we are now going to resolve American artillery. This American artillery lands on previously destroyed units. Whiff. That sucked. But that's okay. We'll get them next time. Some more artillery landed on good stuff. This bastard right here. 120 millimeter battery of German mortars. He killed like 4 platoons of Rangers and pinned down some engineers. I couldn't see him before because he was firing out of those palm trees. I can see his ass now because when you fire 120 millimeter mortars, you tend to make a bit of a racket. I see him. I don't believe him. All right, but now we're going to drop on some 155s on his monkey ass because fuck that guy. 20 points on 2 is 10-1, even in woods. I don't care. You're out of here. And same with the truck. So the chart literally doesn't go that high. One of the many things I love about Panzer Leader is you're sufficiently focused and you know the rules and you use them to your advantage. You never have to pick up a dice. Same here. So you can't blame the dice. Wrecked truck, wrecked Italian 90 millimeter guns. Come on. And again, that third barrage kind of whiffed, sadly. I put the trucks in a slightly different pile. That American smoke screen is out of here. It's all part of the artillery resolution phase. Okay, now we get to American direct fire, which there won't be very much of. Oh, I apologize. We also had my desperate mortar fire coming down on these semi-dispersed Italian tanks. I do still have eyes on them, so Lieutenant Jones here, he commands 2nd Platoon, Charlie Company, whatever, 26th Infantry Regiment. He does still see these tanks over his little Razorback crest line. He's got his binoculars out, and he's adjusting this fire. So I've got 10 and 3. It's firing indirectly, so those mortars do not double. In fact, they have, because I'm dropping them on an armored target. So we're looking at 13 divided by 2 is 6.5, round up to 7. 7 versus a 5 and a 5. That's 2 1-to-1s. We'll do the undispersed guy first, since that's a simpler resolution. A 1! The Americans are coming back. The Americans have just dropped, that's a 1-to-1 on a tank platoon. Hey, Italian tanks, you guys suck. You're out of here. And then we have, what's this? This guy is dispersed. This platoon is previously disrupted. So I get to subtract 1 from the American roll, and then a double D result will result in a kill. So let's see what happens. A 2. Yeah, he smoked. So it was 1-to-1. That 2 is now red as a 1 because he's dispersed. That right there is a kill. And again, even if it wasn't, a double D would have killed him easily. Basically, I had that guy only survived on a 5. Sorry, a 5 would, yeah, a 5 because red is a 4. No, a 5 would have killed him. A natural 6 is all that would have saved him because he was previously dispersed. This is where troop quality comes in. If your troop quality is good, you rally faster. And when you rally faster, you're not dispersed when follow-up artillery lands on you. Now, that was... Do I have Italian Rex? Let's see. Forgive me a moment while I do some quick... Yes, I do have Italian Rex. Burning Italian tanks. You are smoked. All right. And that artillery is now resolved. Come on, get out of there. All right, that concludes American artillery. We then go to American direct fire, which again, there's not going to be a whole lot of. Well, maybe a little. Oh, he took opportunity fire, so no, nothing. This guy, I fired him at somebody. I just forgot to put an opportunity counter on him. Out of range. They took opportunity fire. This guy is still out of range. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Barely. Okay, so 9 divides because of extreme range. He only has a range of, that's a 57 millimeter anti-tank gun bolted to the back of a half-track. Again, American tank destroyers, because we gave away too many of our I'm going to keep saying that until I piss the British off. We gave the British all our best stuff, and we were left with crap. All right, so I've got reduced from 9 to 5 versus 5 1-to-1 odds. You never know, we might disperse somebody. Um, 1-to-1, 2 is a dispersal. Slow the Germans down. The more I slow them down, even if I'm not killing them, if you slow them down, that's more time under American artillery. And that's great. That's really it. The Americans are going to start trying to rally. These two heroes, these absolute fucking legends up here in Hex 2612, they have single-handedly stopped an understrength German battalion. Literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sections / platoons, almost an understrength battalion. A lot of that was transport, but still, against 2 platoons. And so they're not even in an improved position, and they're just kicking ass. So let's see if we can rally them. They deserve it. Get him out of here. They rally on a 1 through a 4. They both rally. These guys are like, okay, Silver Star, at least one guy in here has now won the Medal of Honor. Unfortunately, that was his turn. They're going to get some help, though, from their friends. This guy's going to counterattack somebody. Because I'm not leaving them out there to die by themselves. Any direct fire over here? I don't think so. Those mortars have already fired, clearly. Ooh, I never set up an artillery mission for him for this turn. So let me quickly redress that. I'll make this guy upside down so I remember he's the mortars. Gotta watch out for minimum range on mortars. They're both just outside of minimum range. Okay, cool. All right, that's it for direct fire. Not much. American movement phase. Ooh, let me try to rally these engineers. A 3, they also rally. Okay, get rid of these opportunity fire counters before I get confused next turn. The Ranger Colonel gets back in his Jeep. I actually have that Colonel's name. I saw it last night, now I forgot it. Don't run into your own, try not to crash into your own minefields, Colonel. It's usually a bad thing. Yeah, there's not a lot of movement. The Americans are going to kind of stay put. Because they're kind of holding for now. At least they're in the main battlefield to the southwest. This guy's going to move 1 hex. He's going to trigger opportunity fire from this guy. 3 versus 6, 1-2. 4, however, I'm considered hull down, so he's okay. And now the 2 is going to attack the 8 at 1-2 odds in close assault. I'm sorry, 1-4 odds at close assault. 5 -2, no effect. So there's another firefight going on between these 2 hexes now. Basically, I'm just trying to reinforce these guys a little bit. I'm going to make you work for that objective hex there, Mr. German. Let me check something here. I never resolved this Italian artillery barrage. 20 versus 6 is, no, 24 versus 6 is 4-1. That is not a kill. All right, we're back on top. All right, now the Americans are going to movement phase. Movement phase. That's going to trigger opportunity fire from this battery right there. 10 versus 6, 1 to 1. Add 2 to the die roll for hold down shielding. 6, no effect. He got away with it. Cool. That's important because now what we have here is a kick-ass cat attack. The Americans are going to fight back a little bit here in the north. I'm going to technically pull this truck out of there first and then move this guy down here. And now it's all legal. Engineers, machine gun cannot counterattack without being stacked with without rifles. So now I've got rifles, machine guns, and engineers. They're all in the same stack. Everything's nice and legal. It did take a little bit of a risk from opportunity fire from these guys, but did get away with it on a bad Italian roll. So Italian fortunes may be turning here. We're going to see. So I've got 2 plus 2 plus 1. Because these American engineer platoons are really the ammunition and pioneer platoons that were attached at battalion level. So they're not like combat engineers that were usually not assigned until Corps. There were separate engineer battalions that were usually at Corps, to my knowledge. At least in 43. I checked orders of battle just this morning. I couldn't find engineers even at regiment level. Or division. I'll have to, you know what, let me go ahead and recheck that. I mean, it's too late to change the scenario now, except just now I'm curious. Let me get to my source here. This is a great resource, by the way, if you guys are ever interested in actually figuring out how these units are really put together. Incredibly detailed source. Niehorster.org. I think it's a Dutch education website. Could be wrong about that, but it's a great website. You go to index, it's got all the countries, and then it's got really detailed orders of battle for different units. So an American infantry division. Oh, there is a battalion attached to division. There it is. So yeah, these are combat engineers. But they're way up a division, and 1st Infantry Division headquarters is not on this board. So these, the reason, I'm just kind of going into why these American engineer platoons are so weak compared to the German pioneer battalions, who have attack of 3, defense of 10. Americans have attack of 1, defense of 6. Meanwhile, British combat engineers, the guys with the cool leather vests, they also have 3 and 10. So it's like, why do American engineers suck so hard? Well, it's because of these are combat engineers, which are usually at division. You don't normally see them on a Panzer Leader table. If you do, you would just use the British values. But what we're really talking about in most Panzer Leader games is this, ammunition and pioneer. They're like a blend between engineers and supply. They're almost like construction engineers rather than combat engineers. So yes, they're technically U.S. Army, they're technically engineers, but they're not exactly the satchel charge and Bangalore torpedo guys and flamethrower guys. Is the reason for all that. But, bit of a tangent. Meanwhile, they are still technically engineers though, so they still trigger the engineer bonuses for close assault. So I've got 2, 2, and 1. That's going to be a total of 5 versus 7. That's 1 to 2. Make that 1 to 1 because it is an engineer is mixed up in there. And it's a cat attack, so I'm still subtracting 2. So I basically turned this cat attack into an overrun attack as far as math goes. And yes, I do know Arab Israeli Wars does handle this math a little bit differently, but you do wind up at pretty much the same place. So long story short, we're going to be here at a 1 to 1, subtracting 2 from the die roll. 5 to, let me check all that. Ooh, although, you know what? This guy would get opportunity fire as well. Damn it. Let's see if they get lucky again. He's going to try and save his own life here. 10 versus, I'm going to take out the machine gun section. 10 versus 4 is 2 to 1. In all fairness to the Italians, they may break it up here. 3 on 1 to 2. They didn't kill him, but they did. I'm sorry, 3 on 2 to 1. They didn't kill him, but they did pin him down. Now it is 3 to 7. That makes it 1 to 3, becomes 1 to 2, subtract 2 from the die roll. So they didn't quite save themselves, but they enhanced their chances. I'm now on this row, and I'm subtracting 2 from the die roll. Come on, Americans. A 1! Yes! 1 becomes a -1 at 1 to 2. That's an easy kill. Semoventes! You're done! Alright, the Italians were running the show up here in the north. Now they're getting curb stomped a little. Because the Americans kind of said, oh, they're actually attacking us? Oh, okay. Oh my god, we better actually start paying attention up here. To be fair, the Italians did pretty much blow off a huge, these 2 hexes right here, the whole American wing, and they pretty much, you can see where they folded back their wing, and they're now about to do a lot of damage on the next Italian fire phase. Okay, so any more movement? Fired, movement. He just got pinned down. I'm going to try and rally him. That was the 5, right? No, he did not rally. All right, that's going to wrap things up for turn 3. Okay, we got a lot going on here in the chat, so let me catch up on Mr. Chat here. Ben says you should do a stream with... Oh, we already said that. Okay. Thank you very much for coming by, Madman. Definitely appreciate it. That opportunity cat attack was massive. It might swing the game one way or the other. It definitely saved the center, Ben. I'll definitely admit to that. It's never pretty for the armor to get cat attacked. No, not at all. The idea was to rush them where they were needed the most. Yeah, like those M10s coming in on turn 4. This battle probably helped solidify that doctrine. I would definitely agree with that. So again, integral tank destroyer battalions tended to begin with a 6. They're kind of crappy in this case because it's only an infantry division. It's probably our best infantry division, or at least, not including Marines, airborne, stuff like that. Big Red 1, U.S. 1st Infantry. Nevertheless, everybody was pretty under-equipped at this point of the war. The Americans were just entering the ground combat here against the Germans, and American arsenals and production had been largely drained by Lend-Lease. They'd catch up later, but at the time, it was actually pretty bad. So John Smith, I was here. Okay, John Smith is at aide-de-camp 2. Excel has layers. Wow, so Excel has, you can import objects. These are all just pictures. And then it's whatever order you want the images to display in. You basically format them when you're creating your counters as transparent background PNGs, not JPEGs. That way you can put this nice little shadow effect underneath them so they look almost like a real counter sitting on a physical map board. And it makes it real easy to play big games, create big armies. I am an 8086 guy, #retro. Old school, nice. Jim is a craftsman extraordinaire. Just in Excel. I try to do some kit bashing in physical hobby with mixed results. Okay, so we are now in German turn 4. Thanks very much, everybody, for the kind words. Okay, so turn 4. Here come the Germans. Germans are going to plot all their artillery, which is substantial. Keep the map clean. The question is where? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? That's this turn's artillery. Next turn's artillery. You know what? We got plenty of eyes on them now. It's time to just start slobberknockering these fools. I'm not going to drop artillery on that gun motor carriage. I got plans for his ass. He's an armored target, and I've got Mark IV F2s and Gs 450 meters away. Guess how his life's going to go. I'm trying to hedge around the north side of that minefield is what's really happening. All right, so German artillery is called in there. I'm actually going to focus it for a change. And then number 2 is going to be the Italian artillery. Well, I know where I'm dropping my Italian artillery. So 4 is this turn's artillery, and then whatever survives, I'm going to plaster it again with this turn's artillery. Because that one hex is pretty much all the real American combat power there. I knock out that hex, this wing folds. So here we go. All right, let's get to artillery resolution. Artillery resolution. Dun, 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 dun. Here comes barrage number 4. Okay, so everything's landing on that. 24 German points plus I have mortars now. God damn it, I know I do. Where the hell did I put them? There they are. Okay, so that gets me to, technically it's 23, plus 3 makes 26. So I want to get, the reason I want to get there is I want to get the 4-1. And later on, 2 4-1s. All right, so I went through the math before. I won't bore everybody to tears again. I've got 26 versus 6, 4-1. I have to add 2 to the die roll for improved positions. 4, he survives again. He's improved positions. The Americans are getting their money's worth out of that. And you get there by different addition and subtraction and division, but basically 26 becomes 13, 13 divided by 3. You still wind up at 4-1 against the gun motor carriage. 5, he is becomes a 7 at 4-1. I don't even think he's dispersed. German artillery was a wet fart this turn. A 7, he is dispersed. Okay. Maybe we can cat attack him. Are we close enough for a cat attack? Nope. We can engage him with some direct fire, maybe. Hit him while he's dispersed. That's how you win at Panzer Leader. You pin him down with artillery, you pin him down again, or maybe kill him with direct fire, and then you finish it up with either an overrun or an assault. Or if you're really angry, an overrun and an assault. And if you're super angry, airstrikes. And by continuing to stack up successive attacks, you get to start getting those dispersals, and those dispersals make the units much, much easier to kill. You can kill the enemy very quickly if you set up focused, multi-layered attacks using combined arms tactics and hitting them all with different kinds of attacks on the same turn. That is probably the single biggest ingredient in the secret sauce of Panzer Leader. That's how you win the games. All right, so that is going to wrap up German artillery, which was kind of shitty. You also have to roll a little well. All right, up here we've got Italian artillery. That's counter number 4 there. I got a grand total of 2 batteries of 100 millimeter field guns. They're each worth 12. No worries, that's 24 points. 24 points, there's no improved position in there. Okay, so 24 points, it's a 4-1 on the rifle platoon. Dispersed. It's going to be a 6-1 on the dispersed machine guns. Spoiler alert, he's dead. Like not even a 6 would save him. So I'll put him over here somewhere. And then another 6-1 on, oh I'm sorry, it was a 4-1 on the engineers. It's going to be a 4-1 on the rifle platoon. 6. Axis artillery has been a pretty big disappointment here. So 6 on 4-1 is also dispersed. Get rid of that because he's dead. All right, so we'll see what happens now. All right, we go to Axis direct fire phase. We're already up here. Let's start while we're up here. Both of these are autocannons. They're H-class weapons, so they're going to double to 4. 4 versus 1 is... Actually, I'm just going to shoot 1. No, I'm going to shoot both. So I want them dead. That's going to be 2 4s. Become 8 versus 1. He's out of here. Ooh, that reminds me, I never put a smoke column for that destroyed machine gun section. Alright, cool. So knocked out, they fired. These guys are going to overrun. These guys are going to... Yeah, the American wing is falling. I'm just going to wrap all this up now to make it faster. Boom. Boom. Double overrun. They're out of here. That unit there, opportunity fired. So he can't move, or whatchamacallit. So this guy is going to go up here and then hook this way. That is 6-1 on an overrun. You're out of here. And then that clears the way for another overrun. Going that way. We've got a total of 11 points versus 12. That is 1 to 2 odds. You always round in favor of the defender. Nevertheless, it becomes 1 to 1 odds because of overrun, subtracting 3 from the die roll because it's an overrunning, a completely dispersed stack. So 1 to 1 minus 3. A 1. All right, the Italians are pissed. Ah, finable. We have warned you not to piss us off. I said that, Giuseppe, didn't I? I said not to piss us off. Now look at them. They are toast. There goes the American wing. With some pretty handy... he cannot move because the opportunity fired, so we'll just go ahead and get rid of that for now. Yeah, these guys are just going to continue their advances. I just got to be a little careful here. Not to overstack. I have to pretend I don't know there's American artillery coming in there because this is a solitaire game. So this guy, okay, they didn't know that because that would be just a natural move. These guys are going to close assault. 4 versus 1 on a close assault, and you're out of here. It's like literally impossible for them to survive that. That was resolved a long time ago. 1, 2. Just move him up a little bit. 1, 2. One, 2, 3, 4. This guy is going to, well, first he's going to move. This guy's going to try and rally. Does it happen? Yes, it does. They saw all the rest of those Americans get killed, and suddenly they got bold. Yay! We might win for a change. Poor Italians. Cool. So a lot of American artillery is going to miss, but some of it will not. All right, cool. Now we are heading down here. Oh God, this mess. Can the Germans save it down here? I don't think so. I think the Germans got, the Germans got repulsed up here. I can't keep it up. If I attack again, I'm just going to get killed again. So the Germans are literally just going to fall back here. Well, let me do the fire phase first. 10 and 10, because I'm within half range. Plus 2. 22. Plus these guys, I'll throw them in there as well. It's good. Total of 25, it's 4 to 1. A 5, they still can't do it. 5 becomes a 7 on 4 to 1. They managed to pin down exactly 1. That is the Iron Company up there, man. All right, now the Germans using split move and fire for their tanks. Those units that are eligible for it start to fall back. They don't really have a choice. Can I rally those other Mark IIs? Yes, they do. But that takes place after fire, so they don't get to shoot. 5. Oop, don't get yourself killed here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, just for fun. Opportunity fire, 2 against 2 is 1-to-1 odds. Try to shoot down the German helicopters. It's chopper blitz, different kind of chopper, BMW choppers. 2-to-2, 1-to-1. Pinned him down. That just means that the other one goes up there, conducts a quick overrun. 2-to-1 becomes 3-to-1. Subtract 2 from the die roll. You could technically survive. Not with a 2. You're out of here. Germans have to take consolation prizes where they can here in the center. In all fairness, stuff like that can, at times, be a viable tactic in Panzer Leader, especially in a live game, because now your other opponent, or the other player, who's like a real human opponent, is like, oh, what the hell's he doing with those stupid motorcycles? It's just, and again, you've only got so much time per turn, and you've got so many things to think about. Before you know it, every second he's thinking about these stupid motorcycles on their mission to nowhere is one less second he's thinking about how to murder your real units that matter. And once in a while, something stupid pops up. He might forget and leave an objective hex back here in his backfield open. These motorcycles, sometimes it's a cheese you win, but again, if it just makes the enemy think about something else for a second, you never know. Now he has to think about putting units back here, because those motorcycles might be kind of an asshole and swing around into your backfield and start stealing your objective hexes. All right, so moving swiftly forward. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Yeah, here we go. Now we're going to have a little bit of fun. Now it's time to do a little bit of damage. They're too far back. They shot at me, which I don't think was legal, but they shot at me, so I'm going to shoot at them. 10-10, because I think there's an elevation problem here, but no worries. 10 and 10, they are hull down, and I'm at greater than a half range. 1, 2, 3, 4, so that 2 10s become a single 10. These 2 10s become a single 10. So I'm going to fire all 4 of these 10s as a total of 4 10s becomes 2 10s, 2 5-to-1s, a 4 and a 1. So 4 on 4-to-1 would normally kill you. However, he's hull down, so he's only dispersed. He's smoked. And he's not an armored unit, so... Oh, wait a minute. He's not an armored unit, which means I would have to divide again. Ew, wait a minute. Redo that whole thing. Not only was I illegal there, but I may have just cheesed out the Americans. All right, start over. Start over. That would have been 4 10s reduced by a quarter, or reduced to a quarter to a single 10, and which would be 5-to-1 on one attack, and even then with hold down shielding, I only kill him on like a 1, 2, or a 3. I got better things to do with half a battalion of German tanks. I've got better tools for the job. That's another thing Panzer Leader will teach you. Use the right tool for the right job. You don't want to shoot tanks at soft-skinned vehicles. You can shoot far better units that are, number 1, less expensive, and number 2, will do a much better job. So this is going to be, oops, I picked the wrong thing. Ooh, except there I don't have a line of sight. Oh, damn it. I need to stop messing around. All right. I don't know what to do. A lot of the German units are just in the wrong spot. Shooting up this ridge is what's killing me right now. All right, let me take care of some low-hanging fruit first. 1, 2, 3. So I'm within half. I don't divide. I don't split. I will fire this platoon of F2s. So a full 14. Actually, yeah, full 14 versus 3. No hold down shielding. That was 14 versus 3. That's 4-1. I rolled a natural 4, which I was not showing the camera for. That was that natural 4 right there. He smoked. There's an American wreck counter on the table, because that was a half-track, i.e. an armored target. I think that's the first American wreck counter. For people who are interested, wreck counters are created by destroyed armored units. A destroyed regular unit does not create a wreck counter. I just put a smoke column there because I'm ghoulish. And I like to see where people died. It has no effect on gameplay. Wreck counters do have an effect on gameplay. They count as a stacking point, and therefore can cause problems in subsequent turns of the game. Because armored vehicles, even when they're hit and knocked out, are still major obstacles, and they can create tactical considerations later on. All right, so that was one platoon fired so far. You know what? I'm not worried about those Fargos. I'm really not scared of them. Germans are going to get ballsy again. First, this infantry gun, that's the 7.5 centimeter infantry gun, which I always crow about, is one of my favorite units in the game. Is going to fire. He's worth 6 points because he's within half range. 6 versus 4. That's 1 to 1. I have to add 2 because of his damn hold down shielding. So 1 to 1, add 2. That is a 6, no effect. God damn it, man. Okay, I'm gonna have to get jiggy with it. Because I don't want to take a bullshit. How about this? Overrun. Because now there's. Wait, I don't even need to do that. Where was he? He has 2 attack points. An overrun becomes. An attack becomes illegal once the odds get worse than 1 to 4. So 2 versus 14 is worse than 1 to 4. There's no opportunity to counterattack allowed here. So now it just becomes, do I want to send in both of them? I'm trying to get super efficient for the Germans here. 14 versus 4 is 3 to 1, 4 to 1. Subtract 2 from the die roll, he's smoked. Because there's no hold down shielding against overruns. That was one of them. Okay, now the other one continues his movement. Boom, overrun. You are allowed to daisy chain overruns like this. Again, 2 points versus 7, no effect. So 14 versus 4 is again 3 to 1, becomes 4 to 1, subtracting 2 from the die roll. Goodbye, battalion commander. Come on, machine, give me a break. There we go. Okay. Now these clowns. 1, 2, entering a wadi. 3, 4. I'm still within overrun range. However, I will get 1, 2, 3, 4. All these guys are opportunity firing. This whole gun line just open fire. Problem is they're all at more than half range because they're all 37mm anti-tank guns. So that is going to be 16. Make that 8. 8 versus 7. 1-1. They might get one of them. On a 3, they dispersed one of them. They're going to go for the more powerful ones since they both have equal defense factors. Aim at the bigger tank. But that just opens up the way for additional German armor. You can only put 3 in a hex. Now I've got a total of 20 points. 2 versus 17. Sorry, 2 versus 14. Again, no opportunity to counterattack allowed. 20 versus 6. 3-1 becomes 4-1. Subtract 2 from the die roll. You're out of here. This is how it's done, guys. This is why they call them Panzers. I'm not going to go into that minefield. And I'm not going to counterattack alone or overrun alone because that's going to cause many, many problems later. I'll just sit in here for now. All right, cool. Wrapping up some additional fire. He fired on that mortar battery took part in the German artillery barrage. Long story short, I can't do anything there. He's going to fire. He's going to fire. Actually, no, he's not. He's too far away. He's going to move forward then. This guy's going to fire. 1, 2, 3. He's going to attack an empty truck at 4-1 odds. You're out of here. Shoveling counters, baby. Disassembling this American defense. He just fired. He fired. One, 2, 3. Unload. Can't believe he was still in the truck. Half track, much better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unload. They haven't fired yet, but they're going to fire at somebody now. If I have a line of sight on something cool. Do I have range for that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, I do. Does my stupid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just out of range. That's not really a valid target. I'll shoot up here then. So 4 becomes 4. It's going to be 1 to 2. Hold down, shoot. That's literally not even worth it. You will move instead. Out of range, out of range. Okay, good. All right, so 6 versus 2, 3-1. I do have to subtract 2 from the die roll, though. Sorry, add 2 to the die roll for hold down shielding. Oops. A 1 becomes a 3. He is pinned. Which means this might not have happened, but I'm kind of rushing through the turns. But it's fine. Not going to worry about it. All right, so it's pretty much going to wrap up the German turn down here on turn 4. We'll do like one more turn, and then we'll go ahead and call it, guys. I wasn't planning on doing the whole battle today. We've been up now for over 2 hours. Let's clean this map up a little bit, because a lot has happened. Yeah, you can see where the Americans are starting to get tore up a little bit. But the good news is the 899th is showing up. Maybe 2 more turns. We want to get the 899th actually into combat. I can't tease you guys like that. You know, the 899th, we've been waiting for it, because they're going to enter the map on turn 4. They may not get into actual combat on turn 4. And that would be a little disappointing, I won't lie. Killed. A lot of empty trucks, which technically don't count, but whatever. Oh. Come on, get over there, you. So, yeah, trucks, I just kind of stick down here because who cares? I should probably just delete them. These guys, though, I just like to keep a slight count on unit losses. Alright, so the Americans are at 21 now. Yeah, they got beaten up pretty bad. The Germans are turning two flanks. They've sort of cracked the American inside wing here, and they're almost doing an Alexander at Gaugamela with their panzers. They're trying to sort of slice off the inside wing here. If it's going to work or not, I don't know, because the Americans have a lot of firepower. The Americans have a lot of units. They don't have a lot of firepower, and some firepower is about to show up. Up here, the Americans are in huge trouble. I might send some of 899th over here to help them out. All right, so let's get started. Turn 4 for the Americans. Save the file. And let's finish up turn 4 at least. All right, so turn 4. Cool. Let's plot new artillery. New artillery on turn 4. I'm seeing what direct fire units can hit what German units. I'm going to hit them and pin them down. That way fixing them in place for artillery. So I have to sort of plan at least half a turn in advance. Like I'm going to use these 50 cals and some of these infantry units, some of the machine guns on the half tracks. We're going to pin down some of this German infantry. And now that I know it's pinned down, they're going to be fixed for future artillery. The Americans have a big 4.2 chemical mortar battery somewhere. I forgot where I put it. God damn you. Oh, that's right. It's up here. It's about to get overrun. All right, never mind. Yeah, things are about to get pretty tight. I'm happy with the way the scenario's going so far. Because, not sure who's going to... The Germans are going to crack this line here. I think I'm going to focus down here. I think that's going to be it. All right, so now let's resolve previous artillery. Two batteries landed here. Where did the third battery go? There should be another 4 someplace. What did I do with them? Did I accidentally take it off the map? Oh, that's right. It's up there. Okay, cool. I got it. All right, it missed because the Oda Belinda's moved. All right, so this artillery barrage misses. The other 2 batteries of 155s land here. That's going to be a total of 40 points. 20 plus 20. Each one of them individually hits a 5 and a 4. So that is going to be, what's 40 divided by 5? 8 to 1, there's no surviving that. 10 to 1, there's no surviving that. 2 more Italian units shoveled off the map. Cool. And then that's it for current artillery. All right, awesome. We then will go to... Oh, no, it's not. We're going to do the mortar artillery that was landing here. 10 plus 3 is 13. Divides, because of armor target, down to a 6.5 rounds to 7. 7 versus 3 is... that's still 2 to 1. Boom, smoked. The Italians are paying a grim price for their success up here. They're still going to win this little mini battle up here, but yeah, they definitely took a beating. I guess that's 1st Battalion. I don't know what battalion of the 26th that specifically was, but this battalion of 26th Infantry has acquitted itself well. They basically got hit by the front end of an Italian division, which, again, it's an Italian division, but it's a division. Individual battalions are not supposed to fight divisions. This is what happens. Okay, down here to American direct fire phase. Not much, because again, most of our fire is done in opportunity fire. But I am going to do some, because again, I want to pin down some German units in preparation for my artillery. So again, this guy, I have no idea where he's going to go next turn. So why did I call in artillery on him? Because I knew I was going to try and pin him down. With 2 points, that's 4, another 4 points, that's 8. 50 cal, that's 8 more, because I'm in range, right? 1, 2... Ooh, I don't have line of sight on him. He's blocked by his own sand dunes. Okay, so I got these 4 so far. Plus some mortars. Please tell me. Yes, I do have line of sight there. Which double, because direct fire mortars. So 6 plus another 8 is 14 on 10. I'm still only at 1 to 1. Another 6. Okay, now I'm at 2 to 1. With a 1, I killed him. Shoot. My artillery might be somewhat wasted now. My pin down fire was almost too effective. Send it back. Alright, so he's smoked. That was a German engineer platoon. That was a lucky roll. Alright, let's try to rally these 2 guys here in Fort Ranger. They both rally. I probably should have made the Rangers morale A. Because, I mean, they're Rangers. Different units can have... Oh, they weren't all Rangers, by the way. You got to be careful with that rule, though, because, I mean, you're allowed to have different units with different morales. You just got to be careful, because then you have to keep track of what unit belongs to what battalion, and, you know, it gets a little rough. Alright, so he's fired. Let me just go ahead and start doing my American movement as well. I'm going to stay out of opportunity fire range. 4, that happened last turn, so, or earlier this turn, I should say. Fall back with my rolling roll blocks here. Alright, so this 50 cal that couldn't hit before, he's just going to have to shoot at somebody else. 8 versus 8, that's 1 to 1. Open up with that maul deuce, baby! 3, pinned him down. Germans are like, what the hell was that, an autocannon? Nah, man, it's a maul deuce. Welcome to America, bitch. Alright, this other one is out of range. 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, elevation's a problem. Alright, what else is going on here? I'm going to send down some of these tank destroyers, to sort of help meet this anticipated German attack. Any other movement, really? They backed up and then moved back forward, so they were only in German line of sight for 2 movement points, not a quarter of 10, so they don't trigger opportunity fire. Germans can shoot at them later in their own attack phase in turn 5, but not right now. All right, this guy already fired. That opportunity fire is old. These 2 guys are left, however. They are going to cat attack this guy. Because why not? It's a motionless cat, so they don't trigger opportunity fire. That's going to be 4 versus 8. 1 to 2 odds. Subtract 2 from the die roll. That's a 6, so no effect. But that was technically another cat attack that was going on there. Get out of here. Oh, Lord. I'm going to try to rally that last platoon in that company. 6, he fails. Oh, their luck's starting to give out there in the center. Try to rally that American platoon that's on the wing there of the 26th Infantry. Another 6. Oh, no! Americans, what are you doing? These mortars do not have a fire mission. They're switching over to direct fire because they're about to be overrun. They're no longer answering calls to regiment. Like, sir, we've got our own problems right now. How about you send us some friggin' support? Losses are about even, 21 to 23. All right, that's to wrap up the American turn. Let's bring in 899th Tank Destroyer Battalion. Who's tired of trying to stop German panzers with those M6 Fargos? How about if we bring in some proper goddamn American armor? Now, don't get too ballsy with these. These M10s are thin-skinned vehicles without a roof even. They're open-topped vehicles. They do pack a pretty serious, I think it's an enhanced 76 millimeter gun. Oh no, it's 21 to 22. It's almost dead, so it's almost a dead heat. All right, so the M10s come in from one of these 2 northwestern roads. They're all going to be on roads. They have a movement rate of 9, so they're basically going to move at 18 this first turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Actually, I'll give them this road too, at least for some of them, because they're supposedly coming in on the northwest corner of the board. So that number has a letter, or that hex has a number, so it's playable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Didn't make that big of a difference, but it made a little bit of a difference. Don't get too crazy, because they do have a poor defense factor. They are not well armored, so stay out of sight at least a little for now. Also, there aren't that many of them. We'll send the 3rd one over here to help save the 26th. Okay, so I've got 4, and actually that's too many. There we go, 5 and 2. Because the main attack is down here in the south. Alright, that concludes American turn 4. We're gonna play We're gonna play one more turn. Same gun as the 76 millimeter Shermans. Yep. Sort of. The early 76 millimeter Shermans, yes, I would agree with that 100%, Rasmus. Later on, you get the Easy 8, and that's where you have the two-piece barrel. Notice the M10 only has a single-piece barrel, which is technically better. To put an even more powerful charge, to fire better ammunition through it, they started to put a two-piece barrel on the Easy 8. That's where you see the two-piece barrel, and you get that very distinctive, it almost looks like a German gun, that double-chambered muzzle brake that you see on like some of the Easy 8s. And that's where, which is also a 76 millimeter gun. I think it's the M1 76 millimeter and the M1A1. They basically made a different version. It's basically the same gun. Panzer Leader doesn't make a difference. It all comes out to the same. A 14A10 is the attack, class, and range. But yeah, so as far as Panzer Leader go, yeah, it's the same gun. Totally. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and begin turn 5. And we'll wrap up the stream. Because don't want to be here all day. I know you guys got better things to do on a Sunday. Thanks very much, as always, for coming out. Those of you who are still with us, thank you very much. Panzer Leader fans, tabletop fans, board game fans, we have not forgotten you. I know we've been doing a ton of miniature stuff lately. All right, so German, or I should say Axis turn 5. I'll go ahead, we're going to end the stream, but I'm not going to end the game. So I'll go ahead and plot for turn 6. Artillery. Do I have eyes on that? I do not have eyes on that. I wish I did. So I'll put it here. There is Italian artillery for turn 2. Meanwhile, Italian artillery for turn 5 whiffs because it hit this unit that was all destroyed anyway. Okay, no worries. Get rid of these overrun counters, because that happened a while ago. Okay, German artillery. Damn it. All right, is plotted. German artillery for turn 5 is marked by this one. It's everything. All right, so I've got a grand total of 26 points, a 13, a 10, and a 3. Did I get that right? Yes. 10.5. Wait a minute. Whoa. A 20, a 13, 33. Oh my God. I've been doing this wrong for the Germans the whole time. This was supposed to be, oh no, I've been doing it right, 4 to 1s, except it's supposed to be 5 to 1s. It's 33 points, plus 3 more makes 36 points. Those are 6 to 1s. Oh man, I've been hosing the Germans on their artillery. Big time. I've been counting that as 24 instead of 34. All right, sorry, 23 instead of 33. All right, we're just going to go ahead and say that to kind of redress the artillery mistakes made so far, we're just going to say that this proper one, they all succeed, which they probably would anyway. In fact, let me go ahead and 36 to 4 is 9 to 1. I don't care. 36 plus is I don't care. And now, yeah, I don't care. I don't even have to cheat. That unit is just totally annihilated. Damn it. Okay, no worries. I was miscalculating German artillery a little bit in previous turns. But it's been doing enough damage. So last turn, it was supposed to, I'll knock out 1 American infantry platoon. One, yeah, just to redress the, I won't have it be an engineer platoon, that's cheesy. Give me a rifle section. There we go. Now the pot's right. I just slightly goobered up the attack roll. Because 6 to 1 versus, 36 would have been 6 to 1. Yeah, it's fine. I only made this mistake really once. And 36 would have been 6-1 American rifle sections, which means a 1 through a 4 would have killed them while in an improved position. Yeah, that would have resulted in like maybe one more kill. So we're fine now. We fixed it. All right, cool. That resolves German artillery, or off-board artillery. Germans are bringing in their airstrikes because we're closing out the stream, and why not? Dun, 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 dun. Germans are bringing in airstrikes with a total of 90 points worth of attack. Opportunity fire. 50 cals. Opportunity fire because they're technically AA class weapons. How many fighters do I send in? I want to save at least some fighters to drop bombs on these Italians. You know what? I'm going to send in one P-47. One P-47 intercepts an HE-111, and those 2 units are canceled out. They're not killed, they're used up. They're busy doing something else. They're having a little battle somewhere. Okay, and then I'm going to save these 2 to bomb the Italians because I'm trying to save some of the 26th. Okay, so now we'll see what the anti-aircraft can do. I have a total of 18 points of anti-aircraft fire. Sorry, 16. 2 8s makes 16. Here's where I realize I don't have a copy of the freaking AA table. Ah! Alright guys, give me a second. This will be a quick fix. How can I do this? What's the easiest way to fix this? Cool. Another game file that has a copy of the anti-aircraft table in it. The stream has been saved. Alright, cool. So here we go with the anti-aircraft table. I have a total of, take it easy on my poor computer over here. Alright. I have a total of 18 points, which puts me on this row, 16 to 19 column, I should say. I'm going to roll a d6 and roll as low as I can. Come on, 50 cals. A 3. A 3 is a D. D is the aircraft that's been damaged. Aircraft may execute its attack in the current airphase, but is then removed at the end of the airphase. Does not count as a destroyed unit. So I was like, well, what was the point of that? Well, number one, sometimes it matters if an aircraft is damaged or destroyed. And also, aircraft don't stop after they drop their bombs. They still have machine guns and automatic cannon, and they can do all kinds of strafing attacks. Notice, these HE-111s have a 30-point bomb strike. They have a 4 infantry strike. And when you stack that, you put 2 of them together, that makes 8. That's 8-to-1 on trucks. Or I can send 1, that's 1-to-1 on a single truck. They start cleaning out your weak units. Aircraft with just machine guns and autocannon are great at cleaning out stupid things like trucks, artillery batteries that only have defense factors of 1 or 2, and they're very good at picking off dispersed units because they have unlimited movement because they're aircraft. So it does make I would have rather him be shot down, clearly, as the American player, but I'll take the damage results. All right, so here comes 60 points. I'm going to drop 60 points on these guys here in the wadi. I couldn't fire at him before because he's down in the wadi, but I'm going to go ahead and drop my bombs there. I'm going to try to clean out that stack because, again, I'm trying to clean out this road as best I can. And right now, that's a unit that a ground target cannot see unless it's on high ground. So here we go. Although, wait a minute, wait. Nah, that would just be a bunch of stupid-ass Fargos. I'm not worried about them. I want to go ahead and take out these. Alright, so it's a total of 60 points now. 60 points versus 10, 16. 16 divided by, that's only a 3-to-1, but I'm going to go ahead and go for it. Alright, that's a dispersal. That's a kill. And that's a kill. Alright, so dispersal. And kill and kill. Basically, it worked out to 3-1. 16 divided into 60 is a sloppy 3-1. Oh, excuse me, my voice cracked there. A sloppy 3-1 is what I meant to say. Alright, that's the airstrike. Alright, we then go to direct fire artillery. The mortar is already accounted for. I do have my, whatchamacallit gun. I have my field gun. I do have a line of sight on that stupid 50 cal. But he's kind of far away at this point. So the Americans are set up pretty solid. Everything that's not hull down is in an improved position. Some are behind both from certain angles, so I got to be careful there. All right, so the field gun is going to just go ahead and poke at a truck. That is within half range, so that is 6-2. Oh, a truck. Ooh, he's in a wadi. Never mind. I can't see him. The Americans really do this. Yes, they did. Oh no. Hey, Colonel, you're out of gas. 6, because I'm within half, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Barely within 6-1. I just wasn't paying attention as the American player. That doubles to 6 because I'm within half range. My range is 12. The range is 6. So within half range, I double from 3 to 6 versus 1. That's going to be a motivating 6-1 attack. No bonuses. He's smoked. Come on with the stupid map. Boom, you're out of here. Rangers just lost their colonel. So the Rangers lost their colonel. We're going to say their morale A. Let's see if their morale recovers. It does. So the major is now running what's left of 1st Ranger Battalion. Their morale remains at an A. Rangers are tough, even if their colonel wasn't too smart. That's not the Rangers' fault. That was me just not paying attention last turn. Okay, I got some machine guns, heavy machine guns, which again are out of range. Ugh. So I guess I'll be moving again. Okay, German direct fire. Or I should say some more German direct fire. This guy can't believe his luck. He survived that cat attack. He is pulling out of there. Okay, so now I've got 10 and 10 and 24. I'm going to put 1 on each. So 5 and 2, that 5 becomes a 10. So 10 and 2 is 12. 10 and 2 is 12. On this Fargo, on that Fargo, that is 6-1. However, he's held down because he's right behind that little crest line, that little ridge line, which means it's going to be +2 to the die roll. He survived, he did not. One of them is smoked. One of them is dispersed. Those are just like Dodge trucks, so there's no wreck counter. Okay, then we're going to use our split, move, and fire. One, 2, 3, 4, because he's going uphill. He has to stop there. These guys are off-road. They go from a movement of 14 to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because they're also crossing a ridge line. Okay, these guys. One. These guys did not fire. 1, 2. We're going to use that terrain to our advantage. We're going to attack from here. This guy cannot see him because of that brown hex side. It now becomes 2 plus 2 is 4 versus 2. 2 to 1, 3 to 1. Subtract 3 from the die roll. He smoked on an overrun attack. The Germans are, they can't get through that position. They're going to outflank it. I'm going to try to rally my motorcycle guys. A 6, he fails. They already moved. The motorcycle guy that he is not pinned down. All right, here comes a true chopper blitz attack. Although, no, I can't do that because I'm going to get overrun. I'm going to get a hit with cat attacks. Or, I'm sorry, opportunity fire attacks. Because these guys can swan around as long as you don't become adjacent to infantry. They can do whatever they want. Machine gun bullets bounce off of tank, but these guys are motorcycles. If I start cruising around here, I'm going to catch opportunity fire like it's nobody's business. So actually, he's going to fall back 1 hex so he can still cover his buddy. And he's going to be pretty much killed because they're just going to open fire on him next turn. Also, there's some M10s coming. All right, German attacks. Okay, so that's it for German direct fire here. I'm going to go now straight to German movement. One thing I'm going to do is keep a very close eye on this line. It measures the, because of hex 1217, it measures the arc of line of sight for the American tank destroyers. I have to stay north of that line. Here's an example, what I was saying before, of how rec counters can make a difference. I can only move 2 units into that stack because that rec counter still counts as a tank. It's a burning tank, but it still counts as a wrecked platoon of armored vehicles. 1, 2, no opportunity fire allowed because I only spent 2 points in movement, which is not a quarter of 9. That 9th movement point really makes a difference there. There is, however, a problem with opportunity cat attacks. So as this, or I should say before this is technically going in, I'm going to try and put in some cover fire from my half tracks, which can't reach, my HMGs, which 1, 2, 3, 4, can't reach. Oh my god. Some German units can reach, some German units can't, and it's all going to be hull down. Oh wow. All right, there's only 1 infantry unit in there. It was all much ado about nothing. There's only 1 infantry unit in there. So once I get past 8 defense factors, it becomes greater than 1 to 4. It's no longer allowed. Never mind. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and do that opportunity attack, or that overrun attack. Oh wait, there is still opportunity fire allowed because the overrun attack counts as 2 movement points. Never mind. There will be not infantry opportunity cat attack, but old school gunnery opportunity. So these Fargos might actually do some damage because they're literally being overrun. They're clearly a point blank range. That 4 doubles to an 8. So help me keep track of these numbers. That's 8. No line of sight. That's a normal attack at medium range, 2 hexes. 4 makes 12. Extended range, 2 makes 14. 2 makes 16. 2 makes 18. So I'm going to put 14 of that directly into this guy for a 2-to-1. Pinned him down. And then the remaining 4 points, that's going to be these 2 batteries here. They each shoot 4, which reduced to 2. So they each shoot 2. That's a total of 4. We're going to try to maybe, on a 1-to-2, pin down that second platoon of Mark IIIs. With a 6, they fail. That was a lot of opportunity fire. Except now that cat attack isn't really strong enough. One, 2, because of Wadi. 3, 4. I still have 3 movement points left. It becomes legal again. Bring to front. And yes, sharp-eyed viewers may notice I just advanced under my own artillery. I'm going to have to make a roll to cancel that barrage, or I may actually friendly fire myself. You can do that in Panzer Leader if you're not paying attention. I am paying attention. I do see it. It's worth the risk. I got to crack this line open as badly as I can before those M10 tank destroyers really get into the fray. All right, so now I am looking at, and also there was never more than 2 tank platoons in this hex here simultaneously. So they're passing through. If that rec counter was here, this would be illegal, but fortunately for me, it's back here. So he's pinned down. He doesn't get to help. I got 10. I got 14 versus 2, 3, and 6. That's 11 versus 24. 2-to-1 becomes 3-to-1. Subtract 2 from the die roll for the overrun. Add 2 to the die roll for the improved positions. There's a lot going on in this battle. This is a bolt-action game for your ass, right? Or really a Flames of War battle. 10 tanks, 5 half-tracks, 5 tank destroyers, and 50 infantry are compressed in a battlefield about 150 meters across, so 1.5 meters at 15 millimeter, which is what, 4 feet? This is a small Flames of War game taking place right here. All right, so we said 2-to-1 becomes 3-to-1, plus 2, negative 2. The dice wash out. It's 3-to-1. Oh no. Can I overrun with anything else? Not without running into a minefield. Gotta go for it. Now it just gets lucky. Come on, Germans! 3! Barely made it. That's exactly what you need on 3-to-1. Oof, that was bloody. Just more American counters getting shoveled off the table. Oh, one of those things was a wreck counter. There was a half-track in there. Come on, machine, give me a break. That's good enough for now. All right. I'm going to try to, I can't rally him. He just got pinned. I'm going to try to rally him and then him. So first, the Mark IV-G. I'm sorry, that's an F2, but a Mark IV in any event. I do rally him. Can I the Mark III special? Yes, definitely rally them. Platoon. 10 German tanks just rallied. You never want to hear that. Okay, other German movement. He fired, so I can use split move and fire. He's fine where he is. He fired. I gotta get forward with this infantry. My infantry is too far back. I'm just going to pull these trucks back to make the battlefield a little bit more manageable. Half tracks? No, half tracks we're keeping. Because half tracks are important. I don't know there's artillery coming here. All right, let's wrap up the Italians. Oh boy. Yeah, it's overrun time, big time. In order to overrun armored targets, you have to have an A-class weapon. So these Simovente self-propelled howitzers are going to switch places with the tanks. So the tanks can overrun the half-tracks while the Simoventes overrun the light mortars and empty trucks. Alright, there's no opportunity fire because there are no... Oh, I take that back, there's a smidge. They're all well within range, the minimum range of these mortars, so these mortars are pretty much out of gas. I do have 50 cals on the trucks, and I'm sorry, on 2 platoons of half-tracks. So I've got a little bit I can put against this infantry. I'll take 1-to-1 against the machine gun section. You never know. A 1, I killed somebody. More Italians chopped into meat. Dun, 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 dun. Apologies to our Italian audience members, if any. I have played Panzer Leader with one guy from Italy, so I do know we have some Italian members. But on the balance, the Italian, if any Italian people are watching this game, you guys are doing pretty well here. You have caved in the 26th flank, or part of the 26th flank, and you're rolling it up. You're now literally rolling up the line. Notice you're attacking them from the rear, the outside flank, and the front. So this 3-sided box you've got here, it's a textbook attack. The Germans wish they were doing this well, although the Germans are facing a lot more Americans with better equipment. But nevertheless, this is going to get... We're pretty much going to delete 26 infantry here. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is some overruns. Oh my God, tons of overruns. Okay, so overrun. That's 12 versus 3. 12 versus 3 is 4-1, becomes 5-1, subtract 2 from the die roll. That means a 7 saves him. He's out of here. Come on, give me an American wreck counter. Damn it. Now I gotta rezoom the map and all that shit. Alright, so I'm not gonna bother putting the overrun counters there, but you guys saw what was happening. That was these two tank platoons on an overrun on this platoon of half-tracks. Clearly they're smoked. Okay, now we're gonna do a pretty nasty overrun. 5 and 5 and 2 and 2 makes a total of 14 versus 5. That's just short of 14 and 5. That's just short of 3-1. It becomes 3-1. Subtract 2 from the die roll. That's a 5 to kill. You know what? I'll throw in these Semoventes as well, just to make it automatic. Delete. A lot of smoke columns on this map. Alright, now we're going to switch to cat attacks. There's really only one left. So I've got 4 versus 4, 1-1. Subtract 2 from the die roll. A 3 becomes a 1 on 1-1. That is headquarters knocked out and their Jeep. And I don't remember, did I move those guys? No. Those guys I know I moved. All right, cool. That wraps up the Axis turn, I believe. General Lemon says, I was going to say no counterattacks allowed in sea hexes, but that really doesn't apply on this map. It kind of does. We do have swamp hexes. And counterattacks are allowed in swamp hexes. No vehicle can ever enter a swamp hex, but infantry can. Doesn't bother them at all. Infantry love the swamp, because that's where they're safe from tanks. Infantry love trees, and infantry love towns, and infantry love swamps. Anywhere a tank can't go or has trouble going, the infantry is happy. Open desert, yeah, the infantry don't like it too much because it's extra hot. That and the yeah, it gets rough on the infantry. Oh my god, so many wrecked American units. Damn, we're up 3 hours now. We're almost done here, guys. I wanted to bring in the tank destroyers, and I wanted to bring in the air power, because it's fun. And you're allowed to have a stream up to, I think, 24 hours. We won't do it. You're allowed to have a 240 gig video file on YouTube. We're not going to go anywhere near that. The biggest video I've ever uploaded was like 3 gigs. But, yeah. There are people who do like 24-hour streams, like marathon streams. Most real gaming streams, it's like an easy 6 hours. You guys know how it is on Twitch. None of these are trucks; these are all actual combat units. Holy crap! The Americans got beat up that turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 34 kills. More. Here come more. 35, 36, 37, truck, 38 kills. Put the trucks down here in the junkyard. No one cares about your trucks. Holy crap. Americans, you got to pull it out, man. You got to do something. All right, American turn. We're going to call in artillery. Okay, resolve current American artillery. I got a total of 60 points. Becomes 30 points. 30 versus 4 is beyond 7 to 1. That's 2 wrecked German half-track sections. Yeet. Get off my board, bitch. You're out of here. God, where the hell was that? All right. All right, Germans are going to use, I apologize, the Americans are now going to use their mortars. Sorry, I'll get it right yet. They're going to reuse their actual fighter bombers that they did not use to hold on, they did not use to fend off these anti-aircraft guns are still limbered. So guess what we're going to do? Actually, you know what? That's kind of a waste. I'm just going to use their machine guns. 3 and 3. So it's going to be 2 3-to-1s on those trucks. Hold down shielding does not help you versus artillery strikes and airstrikes because the rounds are coming down from above currently. That's a 3, and that's a 1. And I realize now I didn't have the camera going. So that's a 3 and a 1. That's all 4 of these units smoked, and I didn't even use up my bombs. They will be saved for turn 6. Kaboom! You know nothing, Jon Snow. All right, let's try to, let's now go to direct fire. Oh, this guy was smoked as well, I guess. No. One was killed and one was dispersed. So this guy is not killed. Oh yeah, he was. He was killed in the overrun that followed. Never mind. Damn, the Americans are just getting hammered over here. No. Alrighty. What can I do with direct fire? Oh, we gotta start doing something, man. We're getting clobbered over here. Can I see this? Technically, no. Come on, machine, give me a break. We're almost done. I'm starting to lose patience with the computer here. howitzers, and mini mortars. I can see over that dune line because I'm clearly on high ground and I'm behind a ridge line, so there's not too much of a problem there. 6, 6, 7 doubles to 14 because I'm within half range. So 2 sixes is 12 plus 14 is 26 total. I'll attack one of them at 3-1 odds. Damn it, I keep doing that. That's a 2. So one of them is smoked. It's just attrition, man, for these Germans. You gotta just keep whittling them down as they're coming through this valley. Alright, let's try to, more direct fire. Engineers only have a range of 1. Alright, Rangers have a range of 2, and a gun motor carriage. That's another 10 points. Alright, so 10 plus 13, 3 is 13. That's 3-1. You know what I want? Yeah. 3-1 on the heavy machine gun section. Turn on the camera this time. Smoked. I want to start cat attacking with my Rangers, but slow down, dude. I mean, you're on defense. Don't throw away. You're losing so many units. The Americans are losing so many units. I got to start being careful with them. Okay, no fire up here on this ridge because it was all opportunity fire. I'm going to try to rally that first Fargo. 6, fail. There goes the dice on the floor. No worries. Is that a ridge there? I can't tell. No, it's not. Which means these guys can see some German armor. Just not the good stuff. There's a line of sight there. There's a line of sight there, but I don't think I have the range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not even close. Alright, so I'm going to just blow up some pinned down half tracks, which isn't great, but hey, we wanted to do something with the M10s. Because now I'm going to move them into a defensive position, and we're going to make the Germans come at us. So let's see what happens here. How many do I want to use on that? I'm at extended range, so I'm going to divide. So 2 14s, 2 batteries, or I should say 2 platoons of M10s are going to fire. So that's going to be 14 plus 14 divided becomes back down to 14. 14 versus 4, that is 3-1. Subtract 1 from the die roll, and a double D will do it. So, toast. The M10s have arrived, and they are put a German wreck counter on the board. The other guys have not yet fired. They don't really have any worthwhile targets. Do they have any not so worthwhile targets? I'm going to try to knock down that rifle section with the rest of them. 7, 7, and 7. That's going to be 21 versus 8. It's a sloppy 2-1. Subtract 1 from the die roll. A double D will do it. I just love saying that. A 6. Oh! 6 becomes a 5 on the 2-1 table. I think he survived. Not the right tool for the right job. But a good die roll would have done it. I almost killed him. He missed by 1. That was the only die roll that could have saved him, and sure enough, he got it. Okay, but no worries. Meanwhile, I will now go straight to American movement. These guys are turreted, so they get the split move and fire rule. They get basically 5 movement points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are now looking right down at these Germans at point blank range. The Germans do get to double, but I'm hull down. I have to add 2 to my die roll, which basically triples your defense. If you look at the odds columns and you actually do the math in your head, it's a big deal. And these guys, 1, 2, be watching very closely the bottom line in hex 1217. So I've spent 1, 2, only 1 movement point spent in German LOS. I just occupied that. I'm going to put them on top. Again, I have to kind of play it with one eye closed. I can't say, oh, there's German artillery coming in on this hex, so I better not do that. Because in real Panzer Blitz against a live opponent, you wouldn't know that. These artillery targets are called in secret. You write them down on a little slip of paper, and then when it's time for your artillery resolution phase, you flip that paper over, reveal it to your opponent, and, that's when the artillery takes effect. But, again, it's an armored target inside an IP. I'm not that worried about it. All right, so now we got a proper defensive position with the 899th. Which reminds me, I should put 899's label on there. Move 601st a little bit over this way. 899th is in the house. Even though 3rd of the 16th is basically destroyed, I'm just going to go ahead and remove that because there's not a lot left. Also, 26th is down. Well, these little guys down here to the south are still doing okay. All right, speaking of which, heading over to the rest of American turn. Oh, no. Yeah, they're totally going to... they're not going to take this objective. Not realistically, this little center German renegade force. But unless these M10s turn around, they're going to turn around and haul ass, and they're going to snatch up El Guettar and the crossroads. So Germans are making a run at it, man. I don't know if maybe I'll save the rest of this game for Wednesday. I don't know. I'm definitely not going to do it today because we're only wrapping up turn 5. The Germans could win this. This actually turned out to be a pretty solid scenario, if I do say so myself. Okay, rest of the American turn 5. There's not a lot to do here. Ugh. Okay, first of all, you know what? I'm just going to put, these guys have extended range rule. So the extended range rule is the asterisk after the range factor. Basically, you get to use half your attack factor out to double your range. That's your 60 millimeter mortars, your 30 caliber machine guns, your BARs, your bigger stuff that shoots out a little bit further. Your M1s and your Thompsons aren't shooting that far out, which is most of your force, but your few big weapons can totally get in there, out to that longer range. So this guy is within full range, so he's going to get his full 2 points. These guys are within half or double range because they're 3 hexes away, hence half firepower. So 2 + 1 + 1 = 4 against 2. 2 to 1, subtract 1 from the die roll. A double deal, do it. Do it. Don't roll another 6. Boom, he smoked. Barely. Try to rally that guy. A 6, he fails again. Come on, sucker. That platoon has failed twice. Reminds me, try to rally this guy. I say guy, it's like 40 men. That's a full platoon. That platoon rallies. Alright, cool. Heading over here to this side of the battlefield to wrap things up. Okay, what can he see? Because he did not get overrun this turn. So he gets one last crack at somebody with a direct fire mortar barrage. 20 points, can't see them. Too close, within minimum range. He's going to go down swinging. 20 points versus 5, that's 4-1. Off the 4, he smoked. Wherever the hell he was. It was right there. Alright, now these two M10s. What are they going to do? 26th Regiment, I think it's time for me to say goodnight. Because I think these M10s have to turn around and do something else. Because if I don't head off this threat now, these little 6 platoons of light German armor, they're going to flood this way, and they're going to get into these city hexes, and I'm going to have a hell of a time digging them out of there. Which means these guys are about to get diverted. Oh no, sorry. Alright, they're falling back. Let me not do that. Because that hold down shielding would not take effect against these Germans because they're on higher elevation. Notice this is a level 1 hill, this is a level 2 hill. So it's better if I deploy here. Well, legally I'd have to deploy there. Because Hex 2010 is also an elevation 1 hex. Because the elevation 2 graphic does not cover the central dot. That governs the hex. Unfortunately, that was their turn, which means the Germans are going to get first whack at them. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're out of range of all their armor-piercing stuff, and it's only 20mm guns. I'm not that worried about it. That's a decent move for this little detachment, understrength company of 899th. Try to rally that guy on the wing there of 26 infantry. He does rally. This guy is going to try and shoot at 1 to 3 odds. You never know. Pin him down, maybe. Do it. A 2 pins him down. Alrighty. That's going to wrap up American turn 5. So there is our battle for El Guettar so far, guys. I usually have these games run either 8 turns, maybe 10 on the outside. The turns are going to start going a lot faster now, because units have been chewed up so bad. There's not many of them left. There's less units to move, less fire phases to do. I don't know. I think the Americans are. The Americans have held together pretty well so far. They've just taken tremendous damage. Probably more than they did historically. I mean, look at that. Like 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 39 units killed. 39 combat units. The German tank wedge is weakened, but not terribly so. 601st is still kind of holding together. 899th is now on there, although I've been forced to split it up a little bit. The only really bad news for the Americans is 26th Infantry. Those Italians really kicked ass in the first couple turns of the game. They were very aggressive, probably a lot more. It's easy to play the Italians as aggressive. They really didn't act that way in World War II. Their officers were usually a little too timid. But, yeah, Italians actually become pretty fun to play because you can play them very courageously, because number one, you know better, and number two, they're literally virtual counters. They're not like real men. So there's less to be worried about. But when you play the Italians with gusto, no pun intended, sometimes they do pretty well. The score is still pretty bad for the Americans, but let me try to get us an updated score. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not that bad. It's 31 to 39. combat units. And the Americans are kind of holding. The other little bit of good news, the Americans still have bombs on their 2 flights of P-47s. So I'm probably going to, I don't know if it's worth saving the 26th, what's left of it. I don't think it would save it. But there's literally only 2 platoons down there and some empty trucks. I don't think they're going to last. But if I leave it, if I just completely forget about them, some of those really old, slow Italian tanks are, again, going to roll down that highway heading from east to west, and they're going to start getting into the hexes back there at Netchion and El Guettar. So, yeah, as silly as it sounds, I may have to slow down those Italians a little bit with my remaining bombers. And a lot of German infantry is already pretty badly tore up. They're carrying bombs. This is way before the 5-inch rockets that they would sometimes carry. So there's not a whole heck of a lot left for them to kill. There's some heavy German armor, but the 899th, I think, has that well in hand. The numbers are in the Germans' favor, but the Americans have better guns, the Germans have better armor, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. What's going to leave the Americans? The Americans are going to win this part of the battle, I can promise you that. Barring some spectacularly bad die rolling. But 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this guy is on low ground. But these 4 batteries, or technically platoons, these 4 platoons of M10 tank destroyers, don't try it, Anakin. I have the high ground. These Germans are going to try and push up this ridge, and it's going to get ugly. If the Germans can suppress them with some artillery, they are open-top vehicles. They only have a defense of 6. German artillery in this game totals 33. 36 divides to 18. Artillery does attack them at 3-1. The Germans could still win. A good artillery barrage on one of those 2 hexes there, where hull-down shielding does not take it, could wipe out some of those M10s. It's definitely going to disperse them, and then they're subject to overrun. The problem is the German column is getting a little strung out, which tends to happen when you start setting up these overrun daisy chains. And then people get dispersed, then they fail to rally, and then this and then that. It's just combat attrition. Even if your units don't die, Panzer Leader starts to stretch out your assault wedge like a snake. Because there's just like this natural resistance, this natural battlefield friction that the game replicates. And before you know it, your units are in kind of a strung out shape. So the Germans now definitely have some new things to think about here with their with these M10s on the table. They're going to have to sort of not regroup, but definitely pull up their tail a little bit. Especially since sadly for the Germans, literally their very best tank platoon. They had 1 platoon of Mark IV Gs. Their very best tank platoon, and sure enough, it's literally it's literally flying tail end Charlie at the very back of the column. So, should the 26 have not done a morale check? You know what? You're absolutely correct. They did lose their commander. They were morale B, a 1 through a 4. Good call, Raymond. Raymond. I meant to say Damon and Rasmus at the same time, and I said Raymond. I don't know who Raymond is. Apparently you've just been merged together into a Brangelina type abomination. I apologize for that. They rolled a 6, so they failed. So sorry about that. Rasmus, yes, you are correct. 26th Infantry Regiment is now morale C, what's left of them. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't think the Italians are going to have a hard time cleaning them up. It's just going to take an extra couple turns, and that's going to slow down some of this Italian armor, some of which is very slow. And I'm going to have to figure out what to do with that because, as the American player, because they're going to get outflanked. The Italians are going to wind up, if the Axis wins this game, it might be the Italians that do it. And that's just going to be a weird result. Yes, Rasmus, you were totally correct. Damon, you're probably gone already, but thanks very much for coming out. This has been a pretty long stream. We have now been up for 3 hours and 35 minutes or so. we are going to go ahead and call it for now, guys, because that's a hell of a stream. Then again, it's a Panzer Leader game. Panzer Leader always runs at least 3.5 hours. And we've only done about half the game. If we go to 10 turns, yeah, we've done 5 turns so far. All that said, turn 6 through 10, I promise you are going to take half as long. Turn 6 through 10, not going to be a big deal, time-wise. We'll probably wrap it up in 2.5 hours because, yeah, that's like 30 minutes a turn because there's a lot less units. Everyone kind of knows what they're doing. There's no more big decisions to make. It's down to little decisions like line of sight, how exactly you stack your overruns, things like that, and getting it to where it, getting to where you maximize your chances at certain attacks. But, oh my God, I'm losing my voice. All right, guys, that will wrap us up so far. Thanks very much, Madman. Take care. I might finish. I'm definitely going to finish this game for personal reasons, if nothing else. If you guys are interested, I have to stream something on Wednesday. I might just go ahead and finish this up on Wednesday. All the groundwork's done. It would be super easy. We may go ahead and wrap it up on Wednesday for our Wednesday night stream. Also, meanwhile, guys, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Do give the stream a like if you're still with us. It really helps us out. Helps YouTube notice us. And once YouTube gets the idea that people actually watch our videos, they are interested in putting commercials on them, or at least showing them to more people. It helps us expand our community. Because at the end of the day, we're all in the advertising business. I know it sucks. I hate YouTube commercials too. But also, please remember to check out our Facebook page where Marty and Chris have been putting up some material at Adepticon. I think today is the last day of Adepticon. They're probably heading home by this point at 6 in the evening. I think it's only 5 in the evening over there now, or coming up on 5. But yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Rasmus says I should be around on Wednesday. Cool. You know what? It would be the least amount of work for me, which is always a good thing. Also, I got to start putting together some video. We got 2 great videos or 2 great games, actually 3. I've got a game of Mark Ritchie's 15mm Vietnam. I have to cut together into a video. I've got a game of Battle System Revolution, Battle of Hubbardton, which we played at Dusk Creek House. So we're going to do a little bit of a black powder change of pace there. I got 2 videos to cut together for that. And we had a hell of a game just yesterday at Dusk Creek House, where we used the 7 days to the River Rhine system to do some action in the Yom Kippur War, near the end of the Yom Kippur War, we're on the west bank of the Suez Canal, Egyptians versus Israelis. Let me tell you something, that one got crazy. So I look forward to putting together those videos and sharing them with you guys. So plenty of content in the pipeline. I really have to start getting to these videos before I forget what the videos were. But I have to remember the game in my head to narrate the video correctly. So I better get on that. But we got plenty to come, guys. Please continue to watch this space. Thanks, as always, for all the support that you've shown us so far. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Always remember, we can talk about this stuff on Discord. Our Discord is, there's an auto accept invite to our Discord in the description of this video. It's a party that you can't be rejected from, so go ahead and click the button. You come over to our Discord if you're not already. Hang out and chat with us. Show your hobby. Let us know what you're up to. But for now, after almost 4 hours, we are rounds complete. Tango Mike, as always, for listening/watching. This is Risky Jim with the Sitrep podcast. Signing out. Thanks very much. Have a great week going forward. We'll be in touch very soon. Thanks again, and please take care.